Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the River Life live stream. We're broadcasting today live from the KGTropicals Fish Room and Emporium with very special guests, John Hudson and Lisa Conroy. Here in the studio with me right now, John is here. Lisa will be dropping in at her convenience, and I can't wait for that. I know that's going to be exciting for everyone. But, John, let me just say thank you for having me to your home, hosting a live stream last night with me as your guest, and now allowing me to take over your studio to have a live stream of my own.
It's fun to just be able to just sit here and watch you go through what it takes to do a stream and all that. So I'm happy to do it. Happy to have you here. It's been fun already, even though I kept you up all night last night.
I loved every minute of it, and let me tell you, this old body was tired last night. It's beautiful up here in Northern Virginia, King George, Virginia. I was driving up through the tree-lined interstates, the deciduous trees. I can only imagine what happens up here in the fall of the year when those leaves start changing bright orange and yellow and red. But, you know, beauty always has a price, and there were like tornado speed winds in Virginia yesterday. So as I was driving up the interstate was choked down with traffic about every 10 miles. Once I've got up here in the, what do you call this area? Great Neck?
Northern Neck.
The northern neck of Virginia, and there were trees across the interstate. It was like crazy, wild. So my trip was extended by not quite double, but it was a long time on the road. And then, of course, I had an adrenaline rush last night on our live stream. We had a great time. You guys need to check out that live stream on KGTropicals last night. We talked about some really cool stuff. I learned some things. Thanks for being so generous with the information,
Hey,
John.
that's what I do.
But so the adrenaline kicked in, and man, I was up late last night, so I was able to sleep it off. I tell you, we're rushed getting this technology together for you guys, and you didn't have that privilege, John. So I'm sorry to have worn you out, but you're a young man.
Oh, please.
You'll rebound.
No, I mean, I explain to Lisa all the time, every time we do these, when I'm done, I'm like, I crash.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what's the big deal? I'm like, I don't know. It's like when you turn the camera on, you have to turn yourself on, which I know sounds weird, but it's exhausting. And you go for 2 hours, and it's tiring. So, yeah, I'm ready to go to bed after I'm done.
I think you don't realize, maybe it is a light adrenaline every time. You don't realize how much energy you're actually using.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But we did have a great time, and we talked about events of this weekend. I'm up here visiting you for so many reasons, not the least of which is checking out your monster tanks in your fish room, which are absolutely amazing. And I've said this to John several times. The YouTube camera, it doesn't do the fish or the tanks justice. They're like, you're seeing them, if you're watching the live stream, you're seeing the ones behind me and the ones behind, they're in miniature. These things are giant. Those cichlids in John's tank are 4 feet long. No, I didn't mean that. That's a joke. But they're 4 or 5 times larger in real life than they appear on screen. So I had lockjaw. Wow. So I'm like a kid in a candy store. This is like a fish museum or a national scale aquarium.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
You're
well,
exaggerating
and listen,
a little bit.
I'm only trying to make you guys jealous. This is actually fantastic. I can't wait to somehow get involved in the monster tank game myself. John's going to help me every step of the way. We've got a meetup planned this weekend with King and Queen Cichlids. Scott and Liz are going to get with John and Lisa and myself. We're going to go fish store hopping. We're going to pick up some fish for some of these giant aquariums. It's going to be very exciting. You guys are going to be along the ride with us. We're doing these live streams. We're going to get with Scott and Liz. We've decided we're going to do a series of videos and maybe have some sort of a little friendly competition where we release the content to you guys in kind of a serial fashion. So you can first watch what John's put together with a video, and then we'll kick it over to Scott and Liz and see what kind of video they come up with, and then I'll kind of round it out. Here's my take on the weekend. So I hope this is so much fun that we're starting a trend, something new that everyone can enjoy, even participate in somehow.
Lisa said last night, or I said to her, I said, I hope this starts a trend of people coming here to sit with us on Tank Talk. And she said, does that mean I'm going to have to clean the house every time? I said, no, it's fine. But yeah, I really do. I mean, I think that, first of all, there's not a lot of people that live close. I don't think there's anybody that lives close. Rachel and Scott are, I meant to say, like, I realize it's Rachel and Liz, but what I'm saying is Rachel O'Leary, the YouTube channel, Scott and Liz, King and Queen Cichlids, they're both 3.5 hours, I think, somewhere around there from us. And they're probably the closest. I don't know if you've ever heard of Wayne's Fish World. He's probably an hour from me, or maybe even less. He came to my shop when it was open, but I don't think he's doing anything anymore. I think he's kind of out of it. I could be wrong. So he's definitely the closest. But what my point is, anybody who's going to come here to sit with us, it's going to be like, they're going to have to make major plans like you did. I mean, you're staying in a hotel and all this kind of stuff.
I'll say two things. If you're able to get that coveted invitation, take advantage of it. John and Lisa are warm and wonderful people. You'll feel right at home from the minute you walk in the door. And I promise, when you get here, you're going to have a wow moment. Rack was right. These things are huge.
Well, there is no invitation. It's pretty much an open invitation. I mean, of course, there's probably some that I would be like, I don't know, but there's no criteria. There's nothing like that. It's if you want to come here and you want to sit with us, just send me an email. We'll talk about it. I mean,
you're so generous. Every turn, John, people don't know this about you. You're a tremendously generous person.
Come on now.
Now, I hope no one takes advantage of you
My head
because
is
we've let
already
the cat
big
out
enough.
of the bag. Yeah, maybe we'll provide you with the sign that says no trolls. You don't deserve any trolls.
Oh, they're out there. You're not going to stop them.
Yeah, they got some energy these days. We don't have time for drama. That's what I like about KGTropicals. We're like-minded in that way. Why do we want to waste our time on drama, which is it only consumes energy and adds negativity and interrupts friendships even. When we can find some common ground to encourage each other with, that's what I'm all about, and I've found John 100% on board with that. So if any trend continues, I hope it's that we continue to encourage each other.
Oh, that's never going to stop. It shouldn't. I mean, I can't see that. But my hope is that collaborations are a lot of fun. They're also extremely difficult to do. And usually involve travel. I mean, of course, you got all those Seattle boys that are all close to each other.
Yeah, they're tight-knit.
And they're all living close to each other within an hour or whatever. And out here in Virginia, we ain't got nobody out here. So that's difficult. But, who knows? New channels are popping up every day.
And let me say this. I mean, I had an extraordinary trip up here with the weather and so forth. 5 hours. It's not across the street, but I've been to Seattle. If you're in North Seattle and you're going to South Seattle, that can be 4 hours. So yeah, you gotta have a goal. You gotta have intent. There's got to be a reward both ways, a mutual benefit. And if you're just driving up to see a fish in the tank, maybe that's not enough. But that's where the collaboration comes in. Right. And I think that's what we're going to capture this weekend when all of us get together with the. Gosh, how far are Scott and Liz driving? 3 hours?
I think we're pretty much meeting like in the middle.
Oh, that's right. We're going to meet in the middle.
They're above Baltimore, we're below it, and we meet in the middle, kind of.
So that's going to be like from where I live in Northeast Tennessee, the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. That's like 7 hours to Baltimore. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it'll be 2 hours for us, and I think I don't know where they live. I know I think they're in York. So it's probably a couple hours for them. About the same, probably. For
New Jersey, I think.
I thought they were in Pennsylvania.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, who knows? Maybe
yeah,
I'm wrong.
So sometimes I just turn on the microphone and say things.
I think Susie Q is New Jersey, and Michael's Fish Room. But I don't think he's here anymore. But I think Scott and Liz are in Pennsylvania, York, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, who cares?
They were in here in the chat. We missed
him.
He
was here, but I think he left. So.
SC Fish Keeping in the house wants to know, what did he miss? Everything.
It's all
over. You missed it. Oh my gosh.
You should have been here 20 minutes ago. You missed it all.
It was fantastic. 4 feet long. That's all I'm saying. Get in here on time the next time, Zach. Okay, well, so we've been going like this since I arrived here. John and I just hit it right off. We're sharing all kinds of information. And a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. This is an opportunity for me to ask you questions that I think will benefit other people that are in a like situation to me. Now, your channel, KGTropicals YouTube channel, phenomenal success, recently awarded the 100,000 subscriber plaque. And I got to hold that thing last night. It's a real thing, and I'm like, I want one even more now. But along with that, there's a lot of experience, a lot of background, a lot of effort. And now we've discussed this. Now everything you do on YouTube is at a scale that's different than what I do at 1,700 subscribers. So there's a gap there that sometimes requires a conversation instead of just a question and an answer for me to understand fully. But because there's a gap, like a communication gap based on experience. So I wanted to just ask you a couple of questions, John, from the perspective of a small channel, and hopefully all of the small channels can benefit. I know that when I go to the meetups, the large conventions, Aquatic Experience and Aquashella, we all kind of huddle around, and we're so excited about growing our YouTube channel and learning some technology and some techniques and applying things, and we're all very happy to share with each other. When I was less than 1,000 subscribers, I found it difficult to have availability to resources. One, not knowing where to look. Two, not knowing who to ask. So these conventions came in very handy. So would you mind, John, sharing with us a little bit of information about growing our YouTube channels? I've got some questions in mind, if you don't mind going there.
I'm all for it. Let's go.
Okay, well, that's very kind of you, and I hope that all of the my scale channels, the smaller channels listening, will really appreciate what John's about to do. This is a gift, and he's giving us the benefit of his experience.
One of the biggest mistakes that any YouTube channel can make is comparing themselves to someone that is at a different scale. I yelled at you for that last night because you were like, you get this many views and I get this. And I said, stop competing with me. You're not in a competition with me. Stop looking at my numbers and comparing my numbers to yours. My snowball's been accumulating for years.
Good analogy.
And my snowball is this big right now, where you're still kind of at the top, starting to gain some momentum. So you're in competition with yourself when it comes to growing your YouTube channel. You're not in competition with me. So don't compare. It's hard to say this without sounding egotistical, but if you compare yourself to me, you're always going to feel like you're failing. Because it's not that my channel is so much better than yours. It's just that I've been doing it longer. I've got a larger following. So it's not fair to you to compare our numbers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you're in competition with yourself. Compare yourself to yourself. If you want to see how successful you are, compare what you did this month to last month. That's how you do it.
That is an excellent point. And from a small channel perspective, I'll say that if we don't have access to the conversation with more experienced YouTubers and a demonstrated greater level of success, then we're left to the quote YouTube gurus. And they say things that are true, and they say things in a way that you want to listen and you want to incorporate, and they're very general. They're very across the board. Here's how to win at YouTube. And I don't always win at the expected level when I follow the advice of a guru, but when I'm able to have the conversation, John, during the course, you had 1,600 subscribers at one time. During the course of your experience, how were you able to get from this point to that point? And that is continued growth, sustainable growth, a feeling of success, and you've just set the stage for us. Thank you very much. Don't compare yourself to other channels. Compare yourself to you and improve your product in every way that you know. So then, now that's the launch point. Thank you very much. Now, what are some of the major areas that channels my size, smaller, want to begin to look in order to improve our YouTube product?
Okay. This is going to get me in a little bit of trouble.
Don't go there if it's going to get you in trouble.
Anytime.
I promise not to get you in any trouble.
Anytime I ever am going to say something that I consider to be deep, I always preface it by saying I'm getting ready to get myself in trouble. But subscribers are extraordinarily important in YouTube. Everybody knows that. We want as many subscribers as we can. We gauge our success based on how many subscribers. Nobody ever talks about, oh, that guy gets 10 million views a month. They don't say that. They say, oh, that guy's got 3 million subscribers. You know, that's how everybody gauges their success. Subscribers are extraordinarily important. I think the mistake I made a long time ago, and the mistake that a lot of smaller YouTube channels make, is catering too much to their subscribers. Now that sounds really bad. That sounds like I'm saying, who cares about your subscribers? That's not at all what I'm saying. Subscribers are extraordinarily important.
All right.
The thing is, you and I are friends.
Correct.
You don't need to be doing something every day to make sure you and I are still friends. You just need to be my friend. I'm your friend, and that's not going to change unless the world falls apart. So you have to look at your subscribers the same way. They are there. They appreciate what you're doing. They have chosen to follow you.
Good stuff.
They like what you're doing. They're going to watch what you're doing because they've already had an interest in you. So they're there for the long haul. I mean, we lose subscribers. It always happens. But they're going to support you because they like you. What you need to be focusing on is people that are not subscribed to you. While catering to your subscribers at the same time, you need to be looking outside of your bubble and doing things that are going to attract people who don't know who Rat Cross is or who don't know who any of these people are.
Great advice, John. And by the way, I do appreciate all of my subscribers, and I'm not forsaking them in a quest to gain more subscribers.
No. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, what's the word I'm looking for? Alienate. I'm not saying alienate your subscribers.
No, you're clear.
You have a specific thing that you do, and that's what has made your subscribers fall in love with you. So keep doing that, but also be reaching out so that other people can find you too. If all you're doing is catering to your subscribers, that's all you're going to have is that core little group. So that's the biggest mistake that I see, and people will reach out to me. You've even done it. You know, what do I do? What am I doing wrong? I don't understand why my channel's not growing. And I've said, you know, you're focusing all of your attention on your subscribers, which makes total sense. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense for growth.
Well, there's that sage advice that only comes with experience. And something you pointed out to me last night is, you know, I've never done a video that immediately had more views than the number of subscribers I had. So it's not, all of the subscribers aren't watching. So you got to make quality content for the subscriber and the non-subscriber, or the person who hasn't subscribed yet. Okay, so that shifts the whole paradigm. So now that we're doing content that doesn't focus so much on just the subscriber who, well said, they're there because they like us. They like us being us.
You've already made the sale with them.
Yes. Good point. Wow. You've already made the sale. Going forward, not focusing on subscribers, what are some other areas that we look at in order to improve our product?
Well, please understand, you always have to be focused on subscribers. We want to take care of our subscribers. What I'm saying is, don't have that be your only focus. I was going to say this before and my mind spaced out on me. I think you may have even said this to me. You've said, but my subscribers like that. And I remember distinctly, I'm not going to name drop, but I remember another YouTube channel similar in size to yours said that to me. But that's what my subscribers like. And my response to that was, well, then the only people that are going to watch it are your subscribers. You know, so I'm not saying poo-poo your subscribers. Who cares about we have to find that balance of giving our subscribers what they want while also reaching outside of that circle. So,
and you know, such good advice. I mentioned I tune into the YouTube gurus.
I do too.
I've never heard them say that. So thank you for bringing new information to my table. I'm sure others, we got 33 watching. Thank you guys for being here.
And I could certainly, there could be a lot of people that disagree with me here, but if they disagree with me, it's because they don't understand what I'm trying to say.
And
because
I think
they
if
think
they
I'm trying
don't,
to poop on subscribers.
And you're not doing that. And if there is a lack of understanding, I think it's the experience gap. Once that a YouTuber gets deeper into it, sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. Once a YouTuber gets deeper into the experience of YouTube, then you're able to understand more things. I mean, you've got to start somewhere. You have to crawl before you run, I guess.
Right.
So again, thanks for slowing down your pace to reach us. You're doing a great job.
I didn't answer your question, though, because you asked what are some things to do. I've said this recently in one of my streams. Look at your video. When you have an idea for a video and you think, oh, this is the one, first of all, stop thinking that, because if you're shooting for the next viral video, all you're ever going to do is fail. I mean, because the viral videos are about as common as winning the lottery.
It is winning the lottery.
Yeah. So stop being what's going to be the next viral video. Put yourself in the shoes of people that are browsing through YouTube. And if you come up with an idea, I don't even know, I should have thought of this, but if you have some kind of an idea that you think is going to be the next big thing on YouTube, I had that idea with 10 things, and it worked out. I mean, sometimes we have good ideas, but if you have that, take a step back and put yourself in the shoes of people that don't know who you are, that are looking at your channel. And are they going to be interested in it? Or is it only, excuse me, we ate 5 minutes before this stream started, so it's still working its way through.
We ate in a hurry too. Woofed it down.
So one of the biggest mistakes, and Lord knows I made this mistake over and over and over again too. We niche ourselves down so far, way down. Niche. You hear the YouTube experts like Roberto Blake and Tim Schmoyer, they talk about niche yourself down and find that group. And that's true. But our niche is fish keepers. If you keep niching it down farther than that, like if you do a video that is about some obscure L198 pleco that nobody's ever heard of, I don't know if that number is a real thing, I'm just saying, nobody's ever heard of that thing, and you do a video about that and nobody watches it, it's because nobody knows what it is. So if you're niching yourself that far down, all the way down to a specific fish, and that's all you do, you can't expect people to really want to see that. So think about fish keeping. If you notice my channel over the last 6 months or so, the bulk of the content that I do, the goal is to appeal to all fish keepers, not just one particular group of fish keepers like pleco people or only people that care about red peacocks, or you know what I mean? I want there to be a broad audience, reach as many people as possible. If you're putting a video out to a very, very finite group of people, all you can expect is a very finite response. Sure. And I see that all the time. And that I see that and I'm like, man, I wish I could just reach out to that person and say, hey, maybe rethink this a little bit, but I'm
almost
not that guy.
The goal of that person is not to be a YouTube creator and grow a YouTube empire. I hit that mic again, sorry guys. Not to be a YouTube empire grower, but rather to be a publisher. I want to do my work and put it on the shelf if anyone wants it. And
absolutely.
Different schemes, totally
and
different.
If that is someone's strategy, if their whole goal is to just be a part of the community, then who cares? There are no rules that apply to you. I mean, but if you are someone, and a lot of people, for whatever reason, have a difficult time admitting this, but if you're trying to grow on YouTube and you want to be the next Joey Mullen or Corey McElroy, then you have to think big picture. And that's, first of all, don't be ashamed to admit it. Right. What's so hard to believe about that? And look big picture, don't stay so focused. But if that's not interesting to you, if you don't care about that, all you want to do is be a part of the community and share your tanks, then there's no rules that apply to you. Yeah, you do whatever you want to do.
No shame in that.
No.
Welcome to the community.
Absolutely.
Now you've taken us in a direction that I like. Goals. I think like most of us are motivated by goals. That's why we have goals. We can measure accomplishment. We get some reinforcement, motivates us to go on. So as smaller channels, what should our goal orientation look like? And we've already discussed that subscribers are important, not the most important.
Well, you really only have two numbers to go by, and that's subscribers and views. If you're trying to grow, then your priority should be views, because with more views comes more subscribers. So you should be looking at...
Did you get that? The priority should be views.
Well, because if you're trying to grow, then you might not want to admit it, but you're trying to make money too. And money comes from views, not subscribers. So your goal should be getting as many views as possible. So you should be implementing a strategy that's going to gain more views. And with those more views will come more subscribers. Like I said earlier, and I learned this from one of those YouTube gurus, Tim Schmoyer. You're competing against yourself. You're looking at your numbers this month versus your numbers last month. This is why YouTube Analytics shows you the last 28 days, because they're showing you your current situation, which you can then compare to last month. And if all of the arrows are green, you're good. That's what you should be shooting for, is constant growth. I'm going to tell people, and this is going to be crazy, but I talked about this last night in my stream, and I've talked about it in multiple other streams. If you set a number, like everybody sets the number 100,000.
Sure.
When you get to 100,000, then you're kind of like, now what? Because the gap between 100,000 and a million is just outrageous. I mean, so it's like, what I shoot for now is growth. I'm looking to continue growing. And as long as I'm continuing to grow, then I'm winning. I'm not beating you.
Makes sense.
I'm not beating that guy. I'm not.
Right.
I'm beating myself, which is success. I mean, that's how you get success.
I need to make an announcement. We have a special guest in our chat.
Do we?
Yep. Hi, Mom.
Are you serious? Who is your
River
mom?
River Mom is in there.
Nuh-uh.
At Barbara Cross. Yeah, my mom is
How
doing the
about
technology
that?
to support her son. She's got a YouTube account. She's tuned into the live stream, and she's participating in chat.
My mom would never do that. And she lives right down the street. I don't think my mother has watched
That
a
is so
single one of
cool.
my videos. That is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, River Mom. Yeah, say hello to River Mom. She's so sweet.
That's
I love
awesome.
her. I love you, Mom. So,
I mean, I love my mom too, but she wouldn't watch my videos.
John, you're just, I think you're lifting the blinds. You're helping us to see. I think I'm receiving everything you say as encouragement. I can do this. I can change the way I look at things and then reap the benefit from doing it. So thank you very much for being so caring. And, last night on your live stream, I gave you an award for building community, the River Life Community Building Award.
It's very special to me.
And to me as well, to be able to give that to you. And I'm looking around all of YouTube, and not all YouTubers are community builders, and not all YouTubers are actively collabing to build community. Some are, and I love them, and I love getting in there and getting in the mix and getting re-energized and getting new ideas and going with it. And being a part of this is actually so much positive energy that if there were any negative energy in my life, it's just like pushed out of the way. So this is great tertiary benefits of being involved in a good community. So we're talking about the smaller YouTube channel that wants to grow, and you're giving us right from your heart insight as to how to do that and what to do. And I've asked you, we're in your studio. Okay, you've been doing YouTube for how long about?
Since 2012.
Since 2012, 7-8 years. And now I'm looking around. Okay, we have a special guest coming in right now. I was waiting for this. We're talking on nice microphones, under nice lights, with absolutely gorgeous tanks around us. I don't have all of this studio equipment. I don't have these gorgeous tanks. It's a goal of mine. Can I get started in my growth curve without this? I know the answer is yes, and I know you haven't always had this setup. So will you take us back to how you graduated and evolved and grew into this current setup?
May I interrupt?
Lisa,
Would you like tea?
a Diet Coke for me, please. Thank you. I'm telling
I'm
you,
good.
these people are amazing. Yeah, River Life,
good.
you look thirsty. Can I get you something to drink? Thank you, Lisa, very much.
Okay, so
Let's introduce Lisa before you get
Yeah.
started.
we have to
Okay,
share.
you got the, yeah, there you are.
Let's share the. Let me see. Got to get you on here. There we go. So, we're talking YouTube growth, or you're watching it, so you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying
Okay, so you know where we're at.
Yes.
And we're going to let John answer this question, then we're going to ask you a couple.
Oh, sure.
Oh boy.
Can you move your stuff?
So, yeah, this is my life.
41 people watching, by the way. Thank you guys for being here.
So the answer to your first question is no, you do not need all of this. But all of this, when you look at this, you see all of these cameras and these microphones and lights and boom arms and all of this, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. You should see Corey's. I mean, there's levels to all of this. So, it's all in that effort that I talked about earlier of trying to get better. I don't have to have these microphones. My channel could be the same size it is without all of this stuff. I'll put it on me, I guess. Is that what you want me to do? So now I lost my train of thought because he's pulling up in his Mustang and it's all loud. And but anyway, you don't have to have all of this. The best example that I can give is that girl, and her name escapes me, that young woman that just started her channel. You're back on camera, by the way.
Okay, hi.
She started her channel. The girl in the van, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, Rack. She is a young African-American woman. She's probably 21, 22. She put out 3 videos in a month span and got 1.6 million subscribers out of it.
I'll be checking up on that.
She did this, unless you're YouTube obsessed like I am, and watched the Philip DeFranco podcast with her. Her name, it bothers me that I can't remember her name, but she did 100% of that on her iPhone. Recorded it. She does have an external microphone. She did it all with her microphone. With her iPhone. She edited the videos, and they're very nicely edited. She uploaded, she thumbnailed, she did everything on her phone. So that's the only answer you need right there, is the fact that this woman, now she has the fact that she's young and she's attractive and she's energetic and she's very talented.
Yeah.
She has that going for her.
I have to overcome the lack of all of those things.
Well,
but
yeah, you and
good
me
for
both.
her. Good for her.
But it's
and when did
also
this happen, John?
within the last couple of months.
Okay, this is relevant. This is happening today on YouTube.
She just put out her, I think, 4th video the other day. I'm going to find it right now. I'm going to find out her
And
channel.
I'll say, while you're looking for that Mike from Mass Aquariums, I met him 2 years ago at 2 aquatic experience events ago. He shared with me, I was new, less than 200 subscribers. I'm talking to YouTube creators like I know what I'm doing. It's like talking to Noah about a flood. But some guys were just forgiving and inviting. Mike told me that he gained like 40,000 subscribers on YouTube with just a phone and no editing.
Mm-hmm.
So effort, Corey says that, showing up for work, very important.
And
then,
having a heart for it.
yeah, desire, right?
The desire, wanting to do it, believing in what you're doing, and just keep on keeping on. I mean,
Do the grind, show up for work.
Exactly.
See, your entire face was covered up with a microphone. You were like, but it's Janelle Eliana, I guess is how you say her name. This is the one that I'm talking about here. She put out a video 1 month ago, van tour. She lives in a van.
Okay.
And it is solo female traveler lives van life with pet snake, 7.6 million views in 1 month. Her channel
Living in a van for long.
has 1.8 million subscribers. She has 4 videos. 4.
So is the takeaway there, buy a van?
No. Buy a van, be attractive, live in that van, have a pet snake, and be extraordinarily talented and energetic and charismatic and all of that.
But I can buy a van.
But the other thing that she has that most people on YouTube don't is that every person alive would be interested in watching her videos.
Okay.
See, that's the big difference there too with us. We're speaking to a very select group of people. I have no desire to live in a van, nor would I live in a van. But I saw her video, and she's brilliant. She took a photo of herself in a bath towel with a shower cap on. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm like, huh, what is this? And I clicked on it. I was one of the 13 million people that have watched that video. But the point that I'm making is I have no desire to live in a van. I don't care what it's like to live in a van, but I still watched that because something about it was interesting to me. There's not going to be...
The girl in the bath towel?
well, anyway, I just got myself in trouble. But the, wow,
I can't even
good
save
job.
you there, buddy.
I set myself up for it. I deserve.
You didn't even see the man. You didn't even read the title.
I deserve the pinch under the table that I'm going to get right here. But no, I wasn't a weird thing. I just saw it and I'm like, what's this all about? And I watched it. It is what it is. But she appeals to a much broader audience than we do. But the answer to your question is her. You can do it all on your phone. Is it going to be the same quality that my videos are, or Joey's, or Corey's, or yours? Well, you do it on your phone. Probably not. Is the editing?
Maybe I should get in a towel and stand in front of
She's
the
obsessed with this. Didn't you have something to do inside the house? Your editing might not be as crisp, and it might not have the fancy effects and all this stuff that it would if you were doing it on Final Cut Pro. But you can do everything right there on your phone.
So the takeaway is, you've developed a nice studio, not necessary. You've added on for convenience and preference, but you'd still be driving on if you didn't have the equipment.
Convenience, and also because I'm trying to get better. That's the thing.
Improving.
I upgraded the computer. I've upgraded my camera 3 times. I've subscribed to services for music that I can get royalty. It's not royalty-free music. I pay for it, but so that I can put different music on my channel. That's all in a pursuit to getting better. But when you're getting started,
Yes.
there's free music out there all over the place. You've got a phone that records 4K. Most people's phones do, at least 1080p. I don't record in 4K. My camera won't even do that, but my phone will. But I bypass that altogether and I just go 1080p. Why? Because that's really all we need.
Okay, so I think for me, the takeaway and what you just said was improvement. Where are you? Start there. Start.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you can and as you desire, improve, add, grow. And that's part of the maturation, the evolution of a channel.
And your first question is going to be, what is the first thing to improve? Probably. I'm going to tell you at least 90% of smaller YouTube channels, the first thing that they should improve is their audio.
I concur.
Not the video, not their editing style, not their thumbnails, their audio. Because if your audio is trash, but if he's talking into a trash microphone or the microphone on his phone, you don't get to hear that voice.
Thank you, Lisa, for that.
I won that one.
I'm hearing it very well.
Well, you're sitting in the room with him.
No, I'm talking about like on videos and stuff because I still would say he's got one of the best voices I've ever heard. So,
You're so kind. Thank you, Lisa.
But it's true.
Well,
I've said that from the beginning.
You have, and I appreciate it. That's encouragement, and it helps me to want to do better and want to improve. And I'll say, I mentioned this to John, I did a video with an inexpensive mic, first time, and the audio quality was noticeably off.
Okay.
And another YouTuber, Jay Wilson, contacted me. I love Jay. That guy.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Okay, enough said. Check if you guys don't know Jay Wilson on YouTube. Check that out. He's the media director, social media director for Fritz Aquatics. Big encouragement to me. He reached out. Great video, one of the best you've done. I think the audio quality could be improved, and I've got an extra microphone if you'd like to have it. The guy's just as generous as the day is long. But to John's point, I was improving from my phone microphone to a plug-in lavalier mic. It didn't work, and since then I improved again. And now that I'm in touch with, hey, audio is important, I have acquired over the last 2 years a couple of more microphones. Because and I've heard Corey say this, if your voice isn't at least clear, if not well received, people can't watch. If you're doing a video like we're doing now, a live stream, it's not the picture that's keeping you here. It's the audio.
Right.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
And that's the YouTube gurus all say that too. You can have garbage video quality and people will tolerate that as long as it's not like, fuzz or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you have garbage audio, and I'm a guy that had the worst audio on all of YouTube for the first 3 years of my channel's life. I mean, sincerely, go watch some of my early videos. I was using the garbage microphone that was on my camera, no external audio at all, and I had the loudest fish store on planet Earth. And I would just be like, well, that's what I got, so I'm going to go. And
Showing up for work.
So many complaints from people in the comment section. Now, having said that, I'm sitting here talking about how important audio is, but our channel grew really well with crap audio. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but most people, including me, when I was this, what am I doing this for? I don't know, I'm weird sometimes, but when I was a smaller channel, I still am, but the audio was an absolute nightmare. And I still haven't perfected it. I'm still constantly tweaking the audio and stuff like that, and it's a huge problem. But
we're spending a little bit of time talking about this, John, because, and we're going to get to that hardware there. Envy everywhere. Everywhere I look, it's envy. It's okay. But I like to share information too. As I get, I don't pretend to know very much, but if I've got it, people are welcome to it. So a fellow YouTuber asked, what should I do to improve my channel? No, he didn't say channel. He said, what should I do to make better videos? And I said, and it was a public forum, and it was a response to a comment on a video, and I said, get a new microphone. And immediately, someone else read the comment and replied, hey, this guy genuinely asked you for advice on how to make a better video. Why did you mention get a microphone? Like I was being sarcastic. So
it's an afterthought.
Now that we've had the conversation, it makes total sense. Oh, it is a microphone.
Yep. It's something that's overlooked. I overlooked it for years. And now I'm obsessed with it.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with audio now because my audio was so bad for so long.
Sorry.
My video quality was never terrible. I
Yeah.
think I've always been at like the 1080p level. I've never gone up to 4K because why? But
Right.
my audio has always been one of the biggest problems. I got a lot of problems, but the audio was always an absolute nightmare.
Especially
And
mine. Seems like it's always mine.
well, our voices are so naturally different though. But
What have you got there?
120,000 subscribers, and I never will stop trying to get better. And I guarantee you Corey's the same way. I guarantee you every channel that's bigger than me is the exact same way. $300 I just spent on this microphone right here. So
Oh, that's the new one.
it is
I didn't even get to see that.
$300 for a microphone. A microphone. Because I'm sure it's not the best microphone out there. I'm sure there's a million microphones that are better than that. But it's a pursuit of always trying to get better. So what started this whole topic off was all this stuff and all of this. When I get a new piece of equipment, it is always in an effort to try to get better. It's not to make it easier for me. It's to make a better product.
Sure, and you just got that $300 microphone. So I think it's worth mentioning that you've been doing this, we discussed 8 or 9 years. Start with what you've got and then grow. I mean, money doesn't grow on trees for any of us. So then after your channel grows to monetization, I think that's probably the big target for most of us smaller channels. Let's get monetized. We can get super chats. We can start having some ad revenue on our videos. Then when that check starts coming, then the acquisition of material is like paying for itself. So
You put
not
it back into it. You know?
reinvest.
Exactly, because sometimes you have to spend money to make money, and it might be a little bit more than you want to at first, but in the long run, you will definitely see, what you want, and it pays. It definitely pays. Maybe not right in the very beginning, but it will pay.
It has to be mentioned because it has to do with this microphone that I just showed you. Her and I were in here talking, and I actually bought that because it's kind of loud out here. It doesn't come through on the microphones, but there's a lot of water movement. There's noise out here, the air conditioner. I was talking to her the other day. There's this microphone that I want to get. It's $300, but it's really good and it'll solve our problem. And we can not only use it in here for walking around, but we can also put it on a boom and use it for 10 things. And she said almost word for word exactly what she just said. Sometimes you got to spend money to make money. Because it's usually her that doesn't want to pull the trigger when it comes to buying something, and I'm like, come on, let's go get it. But this time it was her, and that was nice.
If it
Unless
has
it's
to
fish.
do with going to a fish store or going to a fish store, I mean, I plan on going to Petco today and I'm going to buy another 10-gallon setup because, hey, why not? I'm going to go shopping tomorrow at a fish store and I might need to bring some fish home to quarantine. And I'm kind of stocked right now with all my other
Yes,
tanks.
you will.
I actually might get 2 10-gallon setups because you just never know.
You can never have too many, let's be
No,
honest.
I mean, John has 2 tanks and I need to keep growing.
Okay, all right. Lisa Conroy of KGTropicals in the house. Thank you very much for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you.
John and I have been just having basically a conversation with the microphones turned on. It's been awesome. I want to hear your perspective. Now you're a YouTube force now. You are KGTropicals. I see you on Instagram. You're on Facebook. You're on the live streams. You're doing your own videos. You're in 10 things. Tell me about the impact of YouTube creatorship in your life. You're a mom. You're a wife. You run John's calendar for the business.
Yeah.
And you do tank maintenance like all the rest of us. Just give us a little insight, a little behind the scene of what it's like to be Lisa Conroy of KGTropicals.
Wow, it's fun, but it's also a little overwhelming. John does all the editing for the videos, so basically all I have to do is get in front of a green screen and do my part as far as 10 things goes.
The fun part.
Yeah, the fun part. You have no idea how many videos that I have in storage, but I just haven't actually put it together to
Sure.
have it, put up on YouTube. But I probably have about 6 tank setups, aquascapes, just so many videos that could be uploaded, but I haven't finished my part. John is the one that, like I said, does all of the editing, fine-tuning things, and we're a team, and that's the cool thing about John and I is we're actually a team. It's easy to make a video, but to put it together to make it a good video, it takes both of us as far as just my video goes.
Well,
he's a genius.
I'm fond of
himself.
saying that "and" is stronger than "or." So I think John and Lisa are better than John or Lisa.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, there are some. He does a great job without me. I think he does a wonderful job without me.
The talented John Hudson.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Now, he can't live without me, like laundry, food, housekeeping, his schedule, work stuff. He can't live without me as far as that goes. He needs me. But when it comes to YouTube, he could do it without me for
But
sure.
now, last night we had we live streamed together, and you were here. But it was an amazing story. I've been complaining earlier in this stream about driving through the tornado speed winds and the tree damage.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what went on in your life last night.
Oh my goodness. So my daughter plays field hockey, and by the way, she's in the paper, our local paper today. For
Awesome.
being-
I got to pick that up.
Yeah, for being one of the top players at King George. But so I don't miss a game. I have to go to
Great
all of her
mom.
games, whether they're 2 hours away or just at the high school. And I left at 3 o'clock to get there by 5. And everything was fine here in King George, but apparently in like the Williamsburg area, it was storming really bad. So I was probably 10 minutes away from there, and my daughter says, there's a tornado, we have to go in the school. They're locking everything down. And there was actually a tornado spinning around the top. So I'm 10 minutes away, I hear this. I'm pretty freaked out about it. And I honestly didn't know what to do because do I want to drive into a tornado or do I just want to sit my butt still in a parking lot? So I did that. I sat still and I waited until things were clear and I got on the bus and they started to head back. So the games were canceled and so I started heading back as well to meet them at the high school. They decided they were going to take a little detour to Chick-fil-A and get something to eat. Well, when they did that, they went to get back on the bus and it broke down.
Of course it did.
So they're an hour and a half away at that point from the high school. I'm at the high school waiting and waiting. So I find out, well, it's okay. I can just go ahead and come home because once, the bus is back up and running, her friend was going to bring her home from the high school. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. Just keep me posted as far as what's going on. So I get home and the bus had, they were able to fix it and get it back on the road. And we're getting ready to start the live stream, and my daughter texts me and says, the bus broke down again. We're at the sheriff's department, which is like...
So your daughter's at the sheriff's department.
The whole team is at the sheriff's department because it broke down very close to there, so that's where they went. And so they had to wait for another bus to come, take them back to the high school. Anyway, that was my evening. It was
And
crazy.
you showed up for our live stream. The dedication, overwhelming. Here's a mom concerned about her child out in tornado weather, can't get to her. The bus school, they have to ride the school bus, right, when they're on the
Yeah.
athletic team. It's not like you can just go take them out of there.
I could have if it was at the end of the game, but because of the emergency situation,
The
they had
school
to all stick
liability
together.
required they stay on the bus. So even though you appeared to be completely together on the live stream, and you were, by the way,
Thank you.
there were things going on in your life that you just kind of had to set aside for a second mentally.
Yeah, but I knew she was okay. Now, if I didn't think that my child was okay,
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I wouldn't have been here.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
I would have been
right.
out the door, but I knew things were going to be okay. So
Yeah, so if I wake up in the morning with a sniffle and think, it's not a good day to do YouTube, I maybe ought to rethink whether or not I want to plan on growing a YouTube channel or not. So the dedication has to be there. We've talked about some different things that have to go on. If your tank busts, okay, I'm not going to do YouTube. I'm going to make a YouTube about the tank busting. Hopefully, knock
Yeah.
on wood. Hopefully that never happens to anybody. Bob
no,
Steenfight.
I remember it. It actually happened to Rachel a few months ago too, and she did record a video of it. And it's so funny because she was like, you know what? I don't have my makeup on, my hair's not done, but I'm going to do this video because it was a big deal. It was real life, and sometimes you got to catch those real life moments.
Well, you guys, I think, live a transparent life pretty much on YouTube, except for the size of the cichlids. Everything was as I expected it to be, and there's no show John and Lisa and real life John and Lisa. It's seamless. You guys are who you are. I appreciate that. That's what I want to be. I don't ever want to be an ego on screen and then a different person when you meet me in public.
Oh no, I think it's totally important to be who you are.
Just be you.
Just be you, because if you can't be you while you're doing a YouTube video, then you don't want to be fake.
No,
I
and
don't like fake.
I don't think it's as sustainable. If you can just be you and people want to see what you're doing, you can do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, we run into people outside of YouTube. Like if we're out, I've been in Walmart and had somebody hear my voice and walk up behind me and say, "You're Lisa from KGTropicals." And I was like, "Yeah, hi, nice to meet you." And we start talking, and I'm like, "Oh, what kind of fish do you have?" And I think
Do you carry an autograph pen?
Oh, no, I don't do that. But it's so funny because my daughter went with me to House of Tropicals once, and she was just in shock when somebody came up and recognized me, and she was like, "You're like famous," and I'm like, "I'm not famous."
That's got to warp a kid's mind when they discover my parents are cool.
It's just fun.
I told you last night, I don't know if I said it on the stream or if I just said it just me and you, that our kids do kind of get a kick out of it. They're like telling their friends, "Yeah, my parents have 100,000 subscribers," and they think it's kind of a big deal. And
Well, it's
our-
relevant. Kids can appreciate that.
our 15-year-old came to me a couple days ago, and he's like, I always do this voice when I'm acting like a teenager. "Hey, you should shout out my friend on your YouTube channel." And I'm like, "Who?" He does gaming videos. I'm like, "What? Why would I do that?" So he talks about it all the time.
He's
they
getting
get a
some
kick out of
social
it.
equity
Sure.
on your back. That's cool.
He subscribed to you yesterday.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So many people did.
So funny.
I think the last time I checked, there were like 60 subscribers.
Nice.
Oh wow, good.
And, well, listen, now I have to go there.
Oh boy.
First aquatic experience, I show up with less than 200 subscribers, and I'm talking to people like I know what I'm doing, right? Next year, I'm back at Aquatic Experience. I've got 800 subscribers. And I'm like, man, I just don't know about this. This should have gone so much faster. I'm not competing against myself. I'm competing against the world, and the world is bigger than I am. So I'm talking to people. I'm trying to get the tips. What's my next move? How do I get it right? Apparently, I'm not getting it right. Well, I was getting it right. I was getting it just fine. I was just hoping for a lottery win instead of, hey, look, that video got more views than the last one. I'm just going to keep trucking right along. Yep. Well, it was during a live stream on Flip Aquatics channel during Aquatic Experience that I got to sit down with John, and we talked for about 2 seconds, but it was a frenetic pace. And Rob tapped me on the shoulder, hey, get Brian in here. He needs to get in here. He's not doing anything. I said, okay, great. And I looked at John like, I don't get to talk to you. so then, but John thought it was cool. That old guy, he's pretty cool. I kind of liked him. So we stayed in touch, and all of a sudden, John says, hey, you know what? I talked to Rack over at Aquatic Experience. He's got 800 and some subscribers, and why don't we see if we can help him get 1,000? He wants to get 1,000. That's a magic benchmark for new YouTubers. Lo and behold, the KGTropical Army came to my rescue. Thank you guys very much. I mean, we stayed at it for a week or two. And I was so proud to send that message, John, we made it. Thank you very much. So that was really a big boost when I was approaching burnout. I was depleting resources. Just John helped me to rearrange that focus, keep going, you're doing the right thing. Then basically carried me across 1,000 subscribers. Oh. So almost a year later, we're coming up on a year later. Hey, what if I bought a large aquarium? Well, let's talk about it. Led to me being on his live stream last night, led to him being on my live stream today. And how many did I tell you that subscribers I got last night?
60 something or
yeah, another 5 dozen. For a channel my size, that's a sizable percentage. So
that's awesome.
So it is awesome, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Oh. And that wouldn't have happened as quickly without you. So I don't, you don't make me feel like I owe you anything, but I do lend my gratitude. So
we don't want anything out of that. You know, we just enjoy helping other people. And I know John does. He's been around a lot longer than I have as far as communicating with YouTube people and the chat, where I was kind of in the background and just sort of watched over his shoulder. That's why I started my own, you know, I did my own channel thing so that I could interact with everybody. But I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that he's always done this because he just likes helping others, and he likes to just help and see people grow. There's nothing, we don't want anything from it. It's just nice to see other people.
I totally believe that. I want you guys to hear what Lisa's saying and believe that about KGTropicals. I've said it several times in this stream, several times last night. It is genuine community building. And the and is stronger than an or. If we can become an and community instead of or, coming together, building bridges instead of walls, everybody wins. What's the saying? A rising tide raises all ships. So you guys are the example, and you're prominent examples because of the size of KGTropicals. 120,000+ subscribers, people are watching, and the example they're seeing is, let's make it a community thing. This isn't about us alone, it's about us doing community.
Well, I hope that's what happens. And let me just tell you, when my channel was the age yours is, you know, year, 2 years, I was telling you this last night and you were kind of surprised by it. There's probably 20,000 fish keeping YouTube channels
Seems
right
like
now.
it.
And back then there was like 25. I mean, there was 25 might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but you had some of the heavy hitters who were heavy hitters then and still are now. Mm-hmm. And then, it was, I could probably name them all at the time. Whereas now I learn of a new channel every day that I've never heard of.
Right.
You know, and it's unbelievable. So the community aspect of it is kind of what I've always wanted. It didn't happen before, and it wasn't because people were avoiding it. It was just because there wasn't people to do it. which is why I would tell people like Joey, I would say there's no way anybody in our niche is ever going to get to 100,000 subscribers. He proved that wrong very fast. And then, of course, I said the same thing about 1 million. Well, guess what he did? I mean, it's like, so I guess 5 million is next. Joey, there's never going to be a 5 million subscriber YouTube channel. But the community side of it, it's like my fellowship, if you will.
No,
it's like
I love that.
I don't have a whole lot of
Absolutely.
friends out here. Who leaves their house anymore? I mean, you did to come here, but nobody leaves their houses anymore. So to have just friends all over the place, I've never really had that. But so YouTube is my friend.
Sure,
That's the
and
way
if
I
it
look at
weren't
it.
for YouTube, I would be in my house this weekend.
I'd be
So-
sitting on my butt.
You're-
I'd
well,
probably be
it's just a
working my
case in
full-time
point.
job.
You're building in real life community.
I'm trying.
You're doing it. I'm here in the flesh. It's happening. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, I could talk about this all day, and thank you both for your input. But because the YouTube community is so important, I like making sure that the younger channels with less subscribers are having some access to some resources. When I was at that 800 mark thinking, I don't know if this is the way to go or not, John helped me understand. There are resources. I'll help you mind them. And you became a resource for me. I want to be a resource for others. And if we can be an example of that, and you guys, hey, that's right. Yeah, I see Scott, King and Queen Cichlids says, preach it. You're right. So he's another guy, a community builder. Scott and Liz, I dare you to go to any of their live streams, past or ones they'll do in the future, and not witness community building on a live stream. I dare you to do it. Go check out King and Queen Cichlids. You'll see what I'm talking about. And it's just encouragement. It's basically, we're freelance encouragers. Like Lisa said, no one expects anything in return. It's not about an economy with a currency exchange. It's just about doing life together, being a community for one another. And that's the type of people that when I look for that type of person on YouTube, I find them. Sure, there are going to be people that don't fit that mold, that don't subscribe to that point of view, and that's okay. We're all just going to be who we are, but those are the kind of people that I like to seek out and congregate with and see what we can make happen in that and environment versus that or. And we're doing it. We're doing it this weekend. It's going to be great. I'll mention it again. We're going to go fish hopping. We're going to pick up fish. John's going to fill these tanks, Lisa and John, with incredible fish. Okay,
You're allowed to say what they
Okay,
are.
yeah, I know it's
Yeah, I
like
can't
not a secret, but
wait.
there's discus, there's arowana. You're not going to want to miss this. This is really cool. Maybe some angelfish. I don't know, but we're going to do 3 videos. John's going to do a video of the weekend. Scott's going to do, and Liz are going to do a video. I'm going to do a video. It's going to KGTropicals. John and Lisa are going to release theirs first. They're going to kick it over to Scott and Liz. Scott and Liz are going to show you their take on the weekend. And then I'm going to bring up the end with my my video and editing and my point of view of the weekend. So I think it's going to be awesome. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. And we're gonna move on now. I'm jamming myself up. I don't want to leave this topic. It's rich. It's good. Maybe we'll leave some on the table, and people will be in touch with both of us, asking us more questions after the
Like
stream.
I said, I've got all day. You go as long as you want to do, Bob.
Well, listen. There's something that we got to talk about. Getting a large custom aquarium. I'm equally as excited about talking to you about getting a large custom aquarium. The title of your live stream last night was "Let's Get a Big Aquarium,"
Something like that. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, and so the reason is because you're a retailer.
I am.
You're my friend. I gave you a call, and we talked for as long as it took to paint this entire garage.
And that is a fact. He's not exaggerating.
That is a fact. I left the house and I came back and the garage was painted and he was talking to Rack.
Yep. So yeah, you were on your headphones talking to me on the ladder with the paintbrush.
And I hate, with all of my being, I hate talking on the phone.
He
I
really
despise
does.
it.
He will get off the phone so quick with me or say, can't you just text me? Like, he is horrible about the phone. So
I hate it.
Well, you weren't.
it's your voice, right?
No,
It's
it
your
wasn't.
voice.
Thank you, Lisa. It wasn't my voice.
It's your
It was
voice.
no. It was the subject matter. We were talking about something so interesting, and it was acquiring a custom aquarium. And I mean, I'm going to say 3 hours it took you to paint this garage. We talked about
Sure.
one thing. We talked about one thing, and that was getting a custom aquarium. So tell me, John, just you tell us what is your involvement with helping someone get a custom aquarium?
Well, I'm basically a salesperson for them.
For who?
For customaquariums.com.
Okay.
They reached out to me when I was at the Aquatic Experience in 2015. And back then, I was just excited for somebody to know who I was. I mean, because it was in Chicago. And as far as YouTubers being there, again, the community was nothing like it is now. Even in 2015, you had me, Joey, Rob, Sean Peck, and Rachel. And I think that was it.
Wow.
I don't think there was any other YouTubers there.
Dustin?
And Dustin, yeah, Dustin was there working. So for them to come up to me and be like, "Hey, bald guy, we know who you are," that was pretty cool. So they started talking to me then about almost like a collaboration type thing. And then they said, "Well, we could have you take one of these tanks and put it in your shop and you could sell it." And I said, "Oh, but see, that's the problem. We don't have a shop anymore." And so what they do as for their retailers, if you have a shop, if you have an aquarium shop,
Sure.
I guess Bob's getting ready to open one. If you become a retailer for them, they can make an arrangement with you where they will send you a display tank to display in your store.
Sure.
That's where this came from. This one's a completely different story, but this one here is one of their display units.
So people can
as
go
a
to
retailer.
customaquariums.com. Candy has the link in the chat. And
But they don't want to do that. They want
because
to come to me.
Why? Why?
Because, well, you can do that. You can actually go to their website, and I encourage you to, because there's a ton of information on
You
there.
can get some ideas about what
Sure,
they do.
absolutely. But the way it works is I'm basically the middleman between the customer and Custom Aquariums.
I know what you're going to
The-
say. Let me interrupt before you get there and say, I contacted you, and I was so glad that I did. And the reason is you gave me answers to my questions, not answers to questions a lot of people like to ask. In other words, it was a personal exchange. This is what I want to know.
Right.
And I don't know if I can find it on the website, if it's on the website, if it's on the website in the way that I can understand it. The website is great as a general starting point, but having access to you to discuss those minute details.
Well,
very
and a lot of
valuable.
people get frustrated, me included, if I want to know something and it's very specific. I don't
Yes.
feel like digging around. I
Right.
just want to know. And so I'll shoot an email or call somebody. So that's kind of where I come in for that, is I'm that middleman between you and Custom Aquariums. And I just have to say this to anybody that's considering doing this: you pay no extra money whatsoever if you buy through me than you do direct through them. There is no markup whatsoever.
And you get a slight commission.
My commission comes from their profits on their ends. You don't get charged more. And in fact, sometimes, like I'm going to do with you, I can even work with you a little bit and sacrifice some of my commission
thank
to
you.
go to them.
So, and I wouldn't get that if I didn't buy through you.
I mean, if you bought direct through them, you'd pay full price,
Sure.
unless they were running some
And
kind of a
let
special.
me say this, you are a product user. You're not just a product peddler. Both
Two of them.
tanks behind you.
Yep.
Anything, like I said last night, at least I think I said it last night, if I use, I actually didn't say it on the stream, if I use a product and I like it, I may tell you about it, but I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I use this or that and not use it. I like to use something that I stand behind and I believe in 100%.
Yeah, that's
So,
credibility.
yeah, I really, yeah, we don't try to advertise for people. I mean, nothing like that. But if we like something, we will, give a shout out. Same
Sure.
with people we've bought stuff from. I've had good experiences with certain retailers. I've had bad experiences with certain retailers. And if somebody does something really good or I'm really happy with something I bought, I'm going to shout you out. Now, if I'm not happy with something, I usually just keep it to myself because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I know how hard it is to be in business, and, I don't want to, I don't want to mess anybody up as far as their business goes. But if I
That's
believe
very
in something,
considerate.
I'm going to definitely shout you out. So,
Yeah.
here you go, John.
Well, thank you.
So, and we're right now are definitely shouting out custom aquariums.
Sure.
So, you're the middle guy. You've got all the deets, information, the things you don't know in your hip pocket. You got direct contact with the company. You can get. We talked last night. We did. Guys, go watch the live stream last night if you're interested in a custom aquarium, as I am. We talked about from above the top of the aquarium to the floor of where the aquarium sits, and customization is all over the place. It doesn't, the front of the tank, the back of the tank, the height of the tank, the stand, the filter or the sump, the lights, the lids. We talked about it all. And custom means built one at a time for you, your way, the way you want it. And I mean totally custom. That's where John and I got into an hours-long conversation. And the answer that he gave me was yes, it's a custom tank. If you can do it with glass, by the way, these tanks are all glass, phenomenal. If you can do it with glass, they can do it for you the way that you want it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I am in the market for a custom aquarium. I am going to let you help me as my salesperson acquire this all custom glass aquarium. And you've already given me, I'm just going to take a shotgun guess here. You told me 100 things that I didn't even know to ask about because with more than 50 years of fish keeping, in my experience, I've never owned a custom tank. I thought I had a pretty thorough list of questions to go over with John, and I did, but never having had the experience, John was able to say, and long list of other things, and mind blown. So this isn't cheap. This is good, and you can never have both of those things at the same time. So I'm choosing, after 50 years of fish keeping, good. And
You pay for what you get.
you get what you
get
pay
what you pay
for,
for.
yeah. Yeah, and we talked about it in comparison to an off-the-shelf large aquarium. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely would not be. John used many off-the-shelf aquariums before he got his first custom tank. I've been doing it for 50 years, finally looking at a custom tank. Nothing like it, but it's not a knock on, and the reason the answer to why would I want a custom aquarium is size. There's not the size aquarium that I want and I'm looking for, I just don't see over the shelf, but having the customization from the top to the bottom makes it worth it for me.
It's just an overall superior product in almost every way. That's the easiest way to explain it. There was somebody that asked in chat, is it really worth the money to go custom? Yeah, it absolutely
Sure.
is. I mean, as long as you've got the money and you're willing to part with it. It's not a cheap way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants everything right now, and they want it practically free.
Sure.
I mean, that's not how this works with a tank like this. But when you compare it, like we did last night, I don't want to go through the whole thing again because
Sure.
we'd be for another 2
No,
hours.
and I want
but
these guys to go watch that for themselves. Yeah.
Candy was nice enough to actually put up the
Thank you, Candy.
the link
Great
for that.
having Candy here.
She's a
I don't
wonderful-
deserve her in my stream. Thank you, Candy, for
It's
helping
unbelievable. She reads our minds when we're doing streams.
She literally knows exactly what we would want to have put down. She just knows.
out. Well, there you
Yep.
go. The premium experience there of a moderator, and
And nobody ever asked her to do it. That's what's interesting about it. Nobody ever asked her.
She appears.
well, yeah. Well, hopefully she gets some positive reinforcement for herself. She deserves it. I hope she does.
I hope so. But yeah, the answer to that question is yes. It's just a superior product. It doesn't mean that the off-the-shelf product is bad.
Right.
You can buy the $10 shoes at Walmart. They're good shoes. They're not going to be as good as Nike's. I mean, that's kind of the same kind of a deal. It's like those are great tanks. I've had that tank right there for 11 years. I think I've had that tank. And it's never had a leak. It's never had any problems at all. It's perfectly fine.
Nice unit.
So it's not that those products are bad. It's just that custom is going to be superior. And that's through Custom Aquariums. That's through anybody. I mean, it's just going to be a superior product.
I'm gonna recap a couple of the points that I thought, for me, they were the best takeaway points of the conversation we had last night. First, I'm going to do a plug. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the River Life YouTube channel.
Not KGTropicals.
And I'm in the studio of KGTropicals with my guest, John and Lisa of KGTropicals. They're so generous. They've opened up their entire studio for a River Life takeover. Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys for tuning in. This may be the highest quality live stream that you see on the River Life channel for a while.
We'll work on that.
John's helping me up my game in that way too. But now we're talking about custom aquariums, specifically the acquisition of a custom aquarium. And so last night we had the full conversation. It's on KG Tropicals YouTube channel. It was the live stream last night that has buying a big aquarium in the title. Two things were said that just resonate with me. They haven't left me. One was I was talking about the aquarium, the custom aquarium that I want, the finished height, regardless of the gallons, the length, of the height of the aquarium, the finished height on the stand, I want it to be armpit height. So without the use of a tool or a ladder or moving something, I can reach into the aquarium and do things, namely maintenance, maybe some aquascaping, some decor. But I want to have immediate access that's going to make my life easier. It's going to make maintenance easier. It's going to really raise the level of enjoyment I have with my custom tank. So that was really big. John said, absolutely. You figure out the size of the glass, and then we adjust the size of the stand, the custom stand. You can have the finished height that you want.
Should be able to. Let me just add to that a little bit, because I did think a little bit more about it. We can certainly do that as long as you don't want a tank that tall, because you're a shorter guy.
Yes.
And so the problem there.
No, but I don't. The depth of the tank for me is going to be about arm's length.
Okay. But see, the thing is, it's how much space is left between the tank and the floor.
Yeah, for the filter or
for filtration. So it might limit your filtration.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty tall sump, but you don't have to have a 36-inch tall
stand. I'm
I
looking at it, and that stand could be lowered to bring the top of that tank to my armpit
significantly.
Level. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Within the limits of everything continuing to function.
Everything might have to be adjusted to be able to accommodate.
And that's
those
a
numbers.
consideration because we're talking about a monster tank.
That's absolutely right. And it's custom, so you can do whatever you want.
And
so yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so then the second point that resonated with me is the point that you made. Speaking of sumps and filtration and customization, when you design your custom aquarium and the filtration, if you're going to have a sump, and you want it plumbed, then that monster glass, probably on the back, which would be alongside of the aquarium, is going to be pre-drilled. Mm-hmm. So if it weren't custom and you're dragging this thing home and you still have to drill it, you're taking on a lot of liability with a lot of risk versus having someone else do it. If they blow it, they get another piece of glass and they keep at it until they get it right so that it can be delivered to you. This helps justify the cost of customization and the convenience. So those were the two things. I can have it the way that I want it to increase my enjoyment, and they absorb the risk. And those things have such great value that I can't get off the shelf. It encourages me to go ahead and make the investment.
If the folks at Custom Aquariums cut out, or any manufacturer for that matter, cut a piece of glass, and they go to drill the hole and that glass breaks, they throw it away and they cut a new piece of glass, that's their fault.
And you'll never
So,
know.
yeah.
And you mentioned last night that then the details from there, they go really over the top on the details. All the glass is beveled, so it doesn't have that sharp edge that chips easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at your lids, all the glass, that's a day's work.
Yeah, and even the glass, it's a thinner glass than what the tank is, but the lids all have those bevels on the edges. I mean, they're like nice, fine pieces of glass.
So we're talking about a product that's crafted by craftsmen. It's not zipped going down a production assembly line. Here's the work order for a custom aquarium. We're going to build this aquarium today. You talked about the frames not being plastic, which plastic is okay. It has a lifespan. These are anodized aluminum frames on the top and bottom with the cross beams, also aluminum, bolted in so they can be shifted, which makes it easier to get large decor items in, perhaps some maintenance items. Didn't even think of that.
Yeah, well, they can't be shifted. They can be removed temporarily.
Okay, I see.
To get those big pieces in, but then, of course, you have to put them back in
And
before you
then
fill it
they're
up with
replaced.
water.
Okay.
Because if you fill it up without those braces in, the tank's going to break, and you're not going to get it covered by warranty because you're the dummy that forgot to put the braces
Sure,
back in.
sure.
But yeah, you can remove them to get a big, gigantic piece in if you need to, but you have to put them back on. You can't
And
move
that's-
them, though.
That's
They're-
not an option with the plastic
Oh, no.
one-piece molded.
And I've
lid.
never even known anyone to ever be able to remove one of those plastic pieces without breaking it
Yeah.
because it's siliconed in there. Maybe they make a special tool for it. I don't know. But I don't think you can take those frames off without breaking them.
Okay, so those were my two big takeaways. Now, if I were to ask you, as the salesperson and user, you got them in your home, what are the biggest advantages of custom tank ownership? What would you say to that?
Wow factor.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
all right, you got
because
that.
these tanks are spectacular. She's done an amazing job on that planted tank. This one is simple yet still makes a pretty big statement.
Very elegant.
But these have that wow factor. Those do too, but this, when you add the extra size to it, it's just like, whoa.
Oh, please don't my fish go in those tanks.
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow. That's going to make a huge impact.
Not the planet tank, but.
But don't forget, I'll be putting fish in this one too. But
Oh, boy.
but yeah, wow factor. I mean,
Such
these
competition between us.
these are not tanks. Maybe this
Synergy.
one, but this tank is not the kind of tank you're going to put in your living room.
No.
This 360 gallon.
No.
I suppose if it's like a basement living room, you could probably
Yes.
do that.
That would be nice.
But ours, I'm not putting this tank in my living room. No way.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're not really going to get that in your rec room where everyone's going to see it. Wow factor. It has to go in a special place in your home, but it's the wow factor and
And
the
then
fact
you're
that you can
talking-
get big fish in it.
Exactly. It's a wow factor without any fish in it. And when
Right.
you put the fish, it's a double wow factor.
When I've got fish in here, my arowanas, and they get to be 27 inches long, you want to talk about wow factor, that's going to be a big deal.
Well, and see, now Candy's opened the door in the chat. And she says, am I going to reveal what I'm going to put in my monster tank?
Ah, I'm going to sit back for this
I'm
one.
excited because we talked about this, that you were going to do this.
Yes.
I wanna know.
We did talk about this.
Don't take guppies.
There's not going to be guppies.
I mean, I love guppies, but for a huge
Sure.
tank like that, I would.
Yeah, it's not going to be guppies.
But I think you'll like it. If it's
And-
what I think it is. I could be wrong.
Well, it is. You said you were down to 2. You didn't know which. Okay, so several comments in the chat today about my shirt.
Okay.
Okay.
And I don't know if you see very well, but it's an awesome shirt, by the way. It's got a koi, kind of a tattoo style koi over the shoulder. And I love koi. If you're following my channel, you know I'm about the koi. I've got a 300-gallon stock tank with some koi I raised from just baby koi, and I've decorated my little garden, my koi garden, with bonsai trees. Or bonsai. We don't have to argue. Either is correct. I've got the whole Japanese garden thing going on because I love it. It brings me happiness, peace, tranquility. I definitely zen out around the koi. I walk out to the pond and I say, "Hey boys," and here they come, just in case I got food. There he is. There's the food god. And they're like my little buddies, and I absolutely love them. I did a little bit of study on the koi, just for recreational purpose. No educational really value, but I learned that in Asian lore, there's the story of the koi, and it's a story of development that you transpose into your life. We're all developing as people, and the koi swims upstream and then to a waterfall, and the waterfall is like a trial in life. And he's got to figure out how to navigate up that waterfall. He'll go up and he'll fall, and he'll recognize, I can't do that, I've got to do something different. But he doesn't give up. It's an instinct. He figures out how to swim up the waterfall.
Wow.
And then there's a reward. The koi, once it reaches its destination, having overcome all the obstacles, wrestling all of life's mishaps that just seem to overwhelm us sometimes, once it reaches the destination, the koi becomes its inner dragon
Oh,
and has no fear. So sometimes if you see a koi and a dragon together, that's an illustration of that story. And it's all about overcoming fear in our lives. And I've got chills just talking about it, because that Zen is part of that. It's okay. Relax. This is what fish do for me. I'm okay. It's going to be all right. And I feel so good. I want to share it with other people. Hey, this is bringing me a lot of happiness. If there's something here for you, let me share it with you. And it's absolutely doing it for me. So, the monster fish that I'm going to put in my monster tank is not a koi.
Oh, it's a dragon? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
Well, now I'm confused.
That was a great story, though, right?
that was a wonderful story. I'm going to have to.
No, it's like, what?
So, yeah, if I could get views on this video based on how good that story was, I've got a winner. But it's close. It's going to be goldfish.
Yay!
It's going to be as fancy a goldfish as I can find. The only thing I can tell you right now is it will be colorful, and it will be twin-tailed,
Outstanding.
and it will be large.
I think that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
I
Yeah.
was just going to say something which I won't.
So I'm very attracted to the goldfish for the reasons I explained. They're kin to the koi,
Sure.
same type of fish. They're slow moving. They're not frenetic. They're relaxing. Okay, I'm an old guy. I can't keep up with a lot of zebradanios, you know. So
Which happened to be right behind
yeah.
your head.
Or the neons, you know, like at Aquashella, 7,000 neons in a tank.
That
going
was
around
one of the
like-
coolest things I've ever seen on video. I didn't see it in person, but that was
There was a
incredible.
NASCAR tank. Left turn, left turn, left turn.
That's awesome.
So anyway, it's the slow-moving, graceful, beautiful, sparsely scaped tank with these gorgeous. I think about it. I close my mind. I've got the picture. It's just a matter of assembling the picture,
That's going to be awesome.
and it already is awesome. And even the journey. Look at this. It's a beautiful thing. I hope, guys, you enjoy this as much as I do. I'm going to share as much as I can with you. And John, I hope you and Lisa will come along as many steps of the way as you
Of course.
can.
Definitely. I can't wait.
I have two things to say about that. First is, minus the whole koi, story, which was amazing. That was beautiful. But I'm saying when you described the way koi and goldfish make you feel, you described my explanation of how arowanas make me feel.
Awesome.
So believe
And
me, I get
this-
it. That is exactly why I want those fish in here.
Yes.
And it's word for word what you said, how they're graceful and they're slow moving and they just do their thing and they're back and forth. That there is no more mesmerizing fish, in my opinion, than arowanas. So I'm with you. I totally understand that.
And you guys watching, you've got your utopic fish for your monster
Everybody
tank in
has
your
that.
mind. Yeah.
Yep. Now, what we've talked about, and I think what you're kind of alluding to, I can't guarantee it, but I would really like to come out there and help you set the tank up.
Yeah. I'm definitely
do it.
counting on. I didn't want to obligate you on a live stream.
The only thing, I mean, I have a full-time job,
Sure.
which you don't because you suck. But I was looking at you,
It's
not
good
her.
to be me. It's
You-
good to be me.
I'm not fortunate enough to be retired yet, but so it's like everything's going to have to line up perfectly for me to do it. I mean, it would have to be one of those things where, like, I come out there. What did it take you, like 6 hours, minus the storms
It
and
should have been less than 5.5 hours, 5:20.
minus the natural disasters?
Yes.
So it would probably be one of those deals where I would go to work Thursday and then just go from work straight to your place Thursday evening and be there Friday and Saturday if need be.
Am I meeting you
That-
there?
Are you going to? Well, then we'll have to figure that part out too. But
Yep. Okay, see now when River Wife comes in, yes, Lisa's going,
yeah, well, I mean,
And
that'd be
the-
awesome, of course. Yeah.
and the house will have to be clean.
Hey, that's how us women are. What can I say?
That, I mean, I would I would love to do that. And yeah, sure.
Oh, it's
Selfishly,
so
there would be
awesome.
some video footage of it too. So
Stay tuned.
That'd be fun.
River Lifers. This is going to be epic.
And
I
you know,
didn't even bring a cat with me to bring to your wife.
We're getting sideways.
we stream on Thursday nights. So if we do that, we're going to have to stream from the River Life studio on our channel.
Yeah, yeah. It's
be
getting
aware of
better.
that.
Every time it just gets better. So we are koi, and we're swimming up the waterfall, and we're all going to be dragons together.
Absolutely. Ready for it.
That's it, Candy. Thank you for asking. That's the big reveal.
Oh, that's exciting. I really thought it was going to be discus. I really did.
No, you didn't.
I did. I thought it was going to be discus. And then when you talked about your shirt, I remembered you talking about koi in that, and I was like, going to have to go awfully big for a koi. But then when you changed it and went goldfish, yes, that's awesome.
You got the emotional roller coaster I was going for.
Yeah,
Enjoy
you know
the
how to
ride.
tell a story, my friend. That was good. Yeah.
You had me. I was just like, whoa.
I mean, let me
Big, derpy, floppy, silly goldfish are some of the coolest fish on the planet. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, so now here's a tease. Okay? And I'm glad you're here. You need to be here, John, Lisa. That's like another
I'm
reveal.
nervous
It just
now.
keeps going on and on. This is Monster Weekend is a monster of a weekend. John, I'm going to say this to you, and I want your mind just to run free. Okay, are you ready? Lisa, you help him.
He needs it.
Custom tank number 2.
What's that mean?
I don't know. What does that mean?
You want to get two?
You want to get two at the same time?
One for your wife?
I don't know if they're going to be at the same time. Yes, but one for my wife.
What does she want?
She wants the discus.
Oh, I can help her.
So, yeah, we're talking right now about, so as you mentioned, John, this is my monster tank is the big fish room monster tank. Her tank, more of a living room display lifestyle piece. And we're talking right now, discus and or angels. Yeah, so basically we'll have a cold water tank and a warm water tank.
I think that's a great idea, and I think the discus, wow.
And that would be in the house then,
Yeah.
the discus one. Yeah, and see, yeah, we got to talk about a tank like that. A tall
Yeah, with the.
for discus, perfect.
wood.
Not going to be tall.
You can get on a ladder.
Nope. This here's the idea for this tank. Preliminary. I could change my mind. It could be that tank. But preliminary, here's what we're talking. Our life. You know I'm emotional. I just told you a beautiful story about how fish make me feel. And John, you resonated right away. Lisa, you've got a fish in your mind that makes you feel that way. I'm sure all of you guys do too. Our lifestyle is when we get downtime together, River Wife and I have a TV room. I usually have some sort of a TV tray or something with my laptop on, and I'm consuming YouTube through the AirPods and watching TV. We do a lot of Food Network, which, by the way, I benefit
Multitasking.
from that. She picks up recipes and makes them amazing food. Thank you, River Wife. She usually stretches. She's been working all day. She stretches out on the couch, and then I'm in a chair. You know, kind of the arms are together. The arm of the couch, the arm of the chair, facing the TV. It's very convenient for us to hold hands, which we do all the time. It's great. It's wonderful. Yeah.
We don't do that.
Well, I recommend it. It's therapeutic. It's
We
amazing.
do it when we're walking through public.
Now, if I can add that feeling that fish give me to that feeling of being with River Wife in our downtime together, so I'm thinking of a squarish aquarium that fits in between the arms of those chairs coming together in our living room, and I'm at a seated height, and she stretched out on the couch, and we want to have access. So squarish, not tall, but not short, but in our viewscape from our downtime positions.
Like the one that I wanted to win at the aquatic experience.
Yeah, that was
perfect.
yep.
It's almost shaped like a box.
like a perfect square.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my preliminary thoughts for that tank.
And I
Discus.
remember saying that would be such an amazing discus tank. I said that.
Have you ever kept discus?
Not successfully. I've had baby ones that didn't last.
They don't have to be in a tall tank. We're getting ready to put them in an 18 or a 20 whatever inch tall tank. They just look magnificent in a tall tank like this.
They do. They absolutely
So
do.
they don't have to be in it though. That's just when we got this. What was the first thing I said to you? That tank screams discus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because that front face is so big, it just totally screams discus.
They
So
wouldn't let me have it. I tried.
I mean,
Yes.
I need some of the
Yes.
tanks for me.
Yeah.
yet.
You
Well,
got one.
so when River Wife looks at fish online, which isn't that often, okay, I'm the fish nerd. She loves the fish. She doesn't like dirty tanks. I gotta,
I mean,
don't bring it in my
yeah.
house and it'd be unsightly. Okay, fair enough. Gotcha. When she looks at fish online, fish shops, it's discus. So I know she loves the discus and has already picked out 2 or 3 favorites.
So let me ask you a question. What is your what does your pH come out of the tap?
I don't know.
You
They
don't
just
know?
moved.
No. We haven't spent the night in the house yet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to add, I'm sorry. You interrupt me all the time. You were talking about your pond with your koi in it.
Yes.
Where are they now?
They're at the river house.
So are you going to move them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not an in-ground pond, right?
It's an above ground
Okay,
300
yeah,
gallon
okay.
stock tank. I've made several videos. You can check them out.
I've seen them, but I haven't paid attention.
Including the setup. The guy had like a lawnmower trailer, strapped it down, delivered it.
Is it one of those Rubbermaid circle
Yes,
ones?
it is a
okay.
Rubbermaid.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost a circle. I've got it jacked up on a cinder blocks with a wooden frame, and I installed a spigot at the bottom so you can get a 5-gallon bucket under it.
Awesome.
Yep. And
Okay.
it's convenient for a couple of different reasons. And then I drilled holes in the side for overflow so it catches natural rainwater. I put a net over it. I've never really had a koi jump out, but they are jumpers and they try to escape to the land. It never works out. But on the river, which I love, I'm going to miss this property.
I bet you
The new
are.
property has lots of advantages, including getting a monster tank. I'm not complaining. But there are bald eagles, which feed on fish. There are osprey, which feed on fish. Otters,
Otters. See, we don't have those.
raccoons. I'll show you a video later. Remind
We've
me.
got the ospreys and we've got the bald eagles.
Great blue heron. Okay, and these birds nest in the view shed of the river home. The otters swim down, they romp in the yard.
That's hard to. Oh, that's tough.
Coons, raccoons, opossum. There's a bear up the hill. He hasn't actually been down, but if he did, he'd love some koi. So anyway, I put a net over the koi. Not perfect for viewing, but sometimes when I make videos, I'll just throw the net back. Not a big deal. And I've got it in mostly shade, so it doesn't overheat in the summertime. It froze, I think, 2 inches of ice. There's a video. I'd break the ice in the winter. Confession, River Wife may or may not know this. On the sub-zero nights, I would take a ceramic disc heater out. Oh, one thing I did, since it's not sitting on the ground, I don't get any of that geothermic benefit of it being on. So I've got some of that insulation that's like a bubble wrap with foil on either side. You buy it in a roll. One roll fits perfectly around the base for whatever benefit. And then I took a sheet of that and floated it on the top like a solar blanket for a swimming pool. And then with that thing wrapped around the filter, I filter it with a Zeiss filter that John gave me. Thank you very much. And also,
I say this.
Everybody says this. He's the only one that says
I
Zeiss.
said Zeiss. That's what I said.
No, he said Zeiss. He definitely said
I
Zeiss.
said Zeiss. That's what I said.
Rewind. Roll the tape.
Oh man, in conversation I can pull that off. When there's tape,
There
Okay.
is evidence.
Not only that filter, which is the large one, but I also have a Fluval FX6.
Wow.
So it does a good job. Wrapped all around in the insulation, I take a ceramic disc heater and put in there, set it at its lowest setting, which is 58 degrees, and it basically just runs until you turn it off, because the thermostat, if it's sub freezing outside, the thing just runs all the time, and that's enough. One ceramic disc heater, and I looked it up. Supposedly it costs $1.72 a day to run. So
That's worth it.
My heater, and it's only a few days in East Tennessee that we get super cold temps, and then the water froze to about 2 inches, and they've been fine for 2 years in the outdoor pond.
Good.
Yeah, so I'm moving them over, and I've got a place picked out with partial sun, lots of shade, and
Well, I'm sorry to completely change the subject like that. You were on track with something. I'm sorry. You go back with what you were talking. I
I
interrupted.
have no idea.
You were talking about pH and all that.
oh yeah, water parameters, and I don't know, Lisa. That's an excellent question. Because why were you asking? Give me the because.
Because if it is, say, the thing is, when it comes to pH and discus, one of the keys is, the key to keeping discus is to have consistent
Okay.
parameters. You don't want to fluctuate. If you have a higher pH, it's better to just stick with it. You don't want to try to lower it. You don't want to mess with that because
Don't buffer it. Just let it be what it is.
I mean, you can naturally try to do stuff, put certain plants in there or whatever and try. I mean, you don't want to go out and buy African cichlid mix for your substrate, but you want to do things maybe a little bit more naturally. You don't want to use like the pH down because 24
Yeah.
hours later it's
Yeah,
going
it's
to be right
back.
back up.
Yeah.
So, the key is consistency and to just stay on track. Clean water. That's the main thing. So,
And that's exactly what Hans will tell you
yeah,
tomorrow.
exactly. I mean, I've had nothing but good luck with Hans discus. I
Now,
mean,
is
they
that
breed like
the
crazy.
Steneker discus? Is that the
Steneker,
European?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're the only ones that I personally will ever go with.
They're basically captive bred in Europe and better acclimated than a wild caught Peruvian.
They're bred and raised in tap water,
Okay.
not
Okay.
RO water and all of this kind of
Okay.
stuff. I see a couple of people, including you, were talking about wild discus. I mean, if somebody was keeping wild, then they would want to soften their water and maybe use RO water because they're coming from the very soft water of the Amazon. But if you're if you're raising Steneker discus, they've never known anything but tap
Okay.
water.
So that I hear an advantage in that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Just wait till you see them tomorrow. Let me tell you something.
yeah.
I'm going to make a bold
It's gonna be so
statement
much
right
fun.
here on YouTube because you've never been to a place like Hans. I promise you.
Yeah.
A facility of just nothing but discus. The only
Discus this big, and you'll see them that big.
you'll see them as big as
all kinds of-
plates, like dinner plates. They're unbelievable, and so impressive that you might change the order of your custom tanks. You might be like, I need these in my life for River Wife now. We're getting the other tank first. I'm just saying.
You're talking about Monster Weekend becoming a world rocking weekend.
It could change your life and River Wife's life.
Roar.
They're so.
Holy smokes.
It is, nobody can go into that building and not become a fan of discus.
And when
It's
you meet
just
Hans,
impossible.
You're gonna fall in love with Hans, not in a weird way, but you really will. He's so smart. He knows so much.
Yeah.
And
You're going to walk in and be like, oh man, Mick Fleetwood keeps
Yes.
discus. Because I know you know who Mick Fleetwood is. Of course you do. You're old enough. You better know who he is.
I knew there was an old man joke in that.
I
But you're
mean,
exactly right. Yeah, of course.
Somebody your age that doesn't
Yeah.
know Mick Fleetwood's never been out of
never
the house.
turned the radio on. Right?
That's right.
Now I've kept discus, before. I definitely I will
Give
say
her the mic,
this. I would never personally. I wouldn't. I have no desire to keep wild discus. I don't want to take something from the wild. It's natural, lifestyle, wherever it lives, whatever, the Amazon. I wouldn't take it from that environment so perfect. I'm not sure it's so perfect right now, but
Yeah.
I would not.
this moment.
I
Yeah.
would not take that wild discus and put it in an aquarium. I
Well,
think
you
that's
bring up a very
cool.
interesting point, Lisa, and that is because others have done that before us, we no longer have to. And it
Right.
may be a better. And listen, I love nothing more than to see a wild discus. They're my preferred
Oh, they're beautiful.
discus.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why she likes the Santarums,
I
because
like,
they look so much
and
better.
that's
Yes,
why I'm
yes.
only getting Santarum.
But they've been captive bred, and we don't
Right.
have to impact the wild population.
Exactly. There's no need. Leave them alone. Let them be free and do their thing.
Yeah, well,
Just-
and so you guys may not know this. I had a history with poison dart frogs. I was the chairman of International Amphibian Days that convened annually in Baltimore. And on my board, we had the National Aquarium, the National Zoo, high-ranking officials from the USGS, and we had these presentations at every symposium of amazing field trips that our national collectors would go on and meet with the local people and the chiefs, and they would talk about the absolute urgent need to preserve habitat outside of the USA, including the livestock in them, and that at the end of serving in that capacity, I was very privileged. I have a very heartfelt desire to conserve nature, and that's different than preserving it. Don't touch it, don't look at it. I'm a conservationist. Let me look at it. Let me enjoy it. Let me help others appreciate it. I think in the hands of a zoo or a professional keeper, okay, take the least you can get by with so that we can study and propagate and do zoo trades and maybe even bring it to the hobby trade.
Right.
But definitely only a professional and experienced keeper.
Agreed.
And I'm not pointing fingers, and I'm not going to go all the way that, I've already opened the gate. I'm not going down there. I'm just saying, let's consider, are we prepared? Are we considered? Have we done the work? Can we responsibly assume the liability of taking, especially something as fragile as a discus from a fragile habitat like the Amazon?
Right.
Are we there before we take that, knowing that they're available? They're in the market. We don't have to do that.
I would never do
So,
it because
well,
I
thank
wouldn't-
you for bringing that up, Lisa.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could, without stressing myself out, keep them successfully. And I'm being honest. I'm not trying to say I don't think I could keep discus, but wild discus? No. I mean, I would get so stressed out. Then what happens? What do you do with them? Send them back? No, you can't do that. You have to figure it out. You have to be prepared and ready to keep these fish for a very long time. And I would rather get my discus from Hans.
Well, and for
I
me,
look forward to meeting that guy.
I feel very similar with specific fish. There are some that I'm not as militant about, but for me, it's not as much the work involved and having to stay on top of the water parameters and all of that, even though you do have to be a lot more diligent with it than you would for a captive bred fish. Just for me, it's the humanity of it.
Yeah.
It's taking a fish that has hundreds of millions of square miles or whatever it is of Amazon River, which I know they don't soar the
Sure.
whole river, but they've got unlimited space to move around, and you're going to put them in a little box. That's the part I don't like.
And
That's
not only that, when you have fish that are so readily available in the U.S. that you can go and get from a breeder or somebody that you can trust, then I think it's better to do that. They're already here. They're already alive. You might as well get that fish.
Well, I have to mention the other side of the coin here as well. Our friends over at Project Piaba, who harvest cardinal tetra, they've done population studies, and that indicate that harvesting the wild fish to sell to the hobby is actually conservation, because there is measured, this is a scientific measurement according to Scott, an inexhaustible supply. Barring a natural disaster that would take out any population, regardless of size, the amount that these local fishermen are harvesting, the supply is inexhaustible. Now, it becomes conservation when you recognize that the local fishermen that are using hand nets to catch these cardinal tetra, if they weren't being paid for catching fish, they'd be paid for slashing and burning the rainforest. And many of them had done that prior to earning a check, and now they say, hey, we can't slash and burn this. We've got to protect this resource, because you cut down a rainforest, a section of a rainforest, old growth, what are you talking, 100 years? Gone.
right.
Versus a fish, yep, they're going to breed again next year. They're going to be back, And with the hand dipping, and we're not talking about, shrimp boats taking out
Right.
tons of cardinal tetras. So by and large, and especially in the discus conversation, wow, why are we doing the wild discus? Why?
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. That's why I said there's certain fish that, like our friend Joseph Harden goes and collects wild guppies and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with that. They're super small, and no matter what kind of tank you put a guppy in, they're going to be happy because they're bigger.
Here's a question: are the fish that he's collecting invasive or native?
I don't know.
Well, that's a question. I don't think he knows for sure either.
Well, but I'm not opposed to that, is what I'm saying. Like what
Exactly.
he's doing, I'm not opposed to. Corey and the guys go down to Peru, and I'm not. But it's so maybe I'm just biased. I don't know, but it's just certain fish that get larger. Discus can get big to take them out of the wild and put them into a little glass box. That
I
bothers me.
saw that mentioned in chat as well. And here's another point. If you only want wild discus and you're going to have some wild discus, it doesn't mean we can't be friends.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I want to have this conversation with you. Now, what are you thinking? And let me tell you what I'm thinking. Let's talk about it.
I'm not that guy. I mean, if you like something that I don't like, it's not going to impact our friendship at all.
So,
I'm
as
not
I
that
mentioned
way.
earlier, that's an opportunity for a bridge. It could be a wall very easily. Oh, you're one of those. But that's not where we are.
There's too much of that going on today.
Well, I mean, it's just, I think the most important thing is to just make sure you're prepared to take care of whatever wild fish
There's
you
the
get.
point.
Be prepared
Yeah.
to do the right thing. If
Whether
you're doing it just to
whether
be
it's a
that
Petco
person.
fish or a wild discus, be prepared.
Well, absolutely, you need to be prepared for
And there are
any
different
fish.
levels of preparation. I think that's what we've stumbled into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, as far as the ones that are, they may be becoming extinct or whatever, and, you want to take them out and you want to continuously breed them. I get that because we don't want to lose that breed of fish. We want to keep it going. But if you don't have to do that with the discus, then I just wouldn't personally. That's all.
But that doesn't mean if you do it, you're a bad person.
No.
Right,
Just
thanks,
make
John.
sure you
That's
do it
right.
the right way. Absolutely. Just
yeah.
make sure you're prepared and you do it the right way.
Okay,
I
so
mean, I don't
now,
look at it any differently than I don't like seafood. I mean, we all like different things. If you like seafood, that's fine. We can still be friends.
have you ever tried a discus?
Well, what?
Like to,
You said you didn't like seafood. I asked if you'd ever tried a discus.
No,
like to eat?
Yes.
nor would I.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That'd be like eating my chihuahuas.
I know, right? It's weird.
No.
Yeah, I can't eat my pet. So now we've talked about discus. Not on the schedule, by the way. That was just organic. It happened. It was beautiful, lovely. I hope you guys got something out of it. I did. And I'm wondering, could I change the order of the tanks?
I told you. What did I say? I told you that could possibly happen.
Okay,
I mean-
because we're going to see some of the most beautiful discus in the world, certainly some of the most beautiful in the U.S. In spades, they're going to be everywhere. And they're is it Stenker or Steneker?
Stenker.
Stenker. So they're bred in tap water. Mm-hmm. They're captive bred. I'm going to see where they are, how to get them, meet Hans.
Let me tell you something. This decision will no longer be up to you if Riverwife sees video footage from Hans's facility.
I mean, I can't stop that. Because
Game over.
You and Scott at least are going to show the footage, even if I try to suppress it.
If she sees that, it is game over. Because we all know who's making the decisions in both of our
Hey,
households.
you hear that? You know what that is? That's the truck backing up.
That's right.
Back
So-
the truck up. Wait a minute.
You might, because unless you go home tomorrow and don't go to see Hans with us, if you go there tomorrow, which you will be going, and you will be taking video footage, if she sees that, the decision might not be up to you. That's all I'm
What's her
saying.
number? I'll text her pictures while we're there.
Just like I asked her this morning, I'm like, well, you said you want to get 10 Santarums, which Santarums are beautiful. They're gorgeous. But for me, it's the Dark Angel. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a specific,
I'm not.
it's a Stenker line. And it's, what is it? It's the Blue Diamond and which one?
Is it the silver?
Silver Pigeon, that's right. It's a cross between two. So it's a hybridized, it's not really a hybrid because they're both discus. But anyway, it's exclusive to Hans or to Stenker. That's my favorite one. And so I was telling her this morning, I was like, what if we got 6 of one and 6 of the other? She's like, nope. Nope. Santarums, that's what it's going to be. So we all know who makes the decisions.
The only blue that will be in that tank is probably some Cardinal Tetras, since I decided not to do the neons. So,
It'll be awesome. Have you guys been to the Georgia Aquarium?
no.
Okay. Mother of all monster tanks. I say that because there's a whale shark in
Oh.
it.
Wow.
That is a monster tank, if there's any doubt. Well, also, they've got a freshwater collection, including discus.
Oh.
And it's just one of those well done public aquariums. It's a display that you're going through the museum, right? You're looking at the tanks, you're reading the placards, you're going along, and then you encounter the discus tank. Your mission leaves you, abort mission. You're suspended in animation, and you're just watching this flock of fish move. It's so beautiful, effortlessly, and you see their eyes moving as they watch you.
I can't
You're having a
wait.
conversation with these fish. None of the other fish. You want to fall in love with this whale shark. It's amazing. But the discus are the ones that grab you.
They are a game changer, and I feel something happening, and I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But you've been involved in this hobby for a long time. You know that this hobby goes in waves.
Yeah,
and right
it does.
now, the wave is definitely the planted nano tank, nano fish. Shrimp are very popular. But 3-4 years ago, discus were like the premium, like that was the elite. And they seem to have kind of faded into popularity a little bit. The wave is down a little bit on discus, and I hope I'm wrong. Maybe it just seems that way to me. African cichlids, same way. I mean, when I started my channel, there was no more popular aquarium
Right.
fish than African cichlids. Now, they're still popular. I still love them, but they're nowhere near as popular. 2 years from now, they'll probably be the most popular again. But hopefully, discus, they make a resurgence. But I don't know how they're not always the most popular, because there's something about them. They're game changers for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Love those
You
silly
mentioned
little
10.
pancakes.
10
Yeah, 110.
in here.
10. It's a good number.
Can you guys imagine that? 10 discus.
They're gonna be
tanks?
smaller.
I'm going to get them this big only
Yeah.
because I want to watch them grow, and I want everyone to see that
Yeah.
I can grow them. You know?
Again, this tank that I'm looking at it on the screen, tiny, in real life. What are the
And
dimensions of that?
Trying-
6 feet long, 18 inches deep, and I think they're 22 inches tall.
Yeah, that's a 6-footer right there. That's what that is.
And John keeps saying, "Oh, put some plants in there," but I don't want to do plants, because when you're doing a planet tank with discus and you're trying to grow them, it's not really a good combination. It's better to, if you want to, okay, so this is probably my own personal opinion. Some people may be more, can do it better than me, but I just feel like when you're trying to grow discus, the most important thing is to make sure you're siphoning out your substrate really good, and you're keeping it extra clean and all that. And when you have a planet tank, it's kind of important to have that poop in the substrate for the plants to grow.
Sure,
And,
there's a byproduct, yeah.
So it's a little bit trickier. So that's why I don't want plants. That's why I put the moss on that stump.
Okay,
I
okay.
use the fluval glue, and I put the
Yeah.
moss on the stump. There's 2 different kinds. That's why one is a little bit more browner and the other one's a little bit more greener. But I give it a little longer, and it'll all fill in
Yeah.
really pretty. But I
I don't
want a
think they
bunch
can
of
see
plants.
that on the screen, but it's very noticeable in person.
Yeah.
That's going to grow out beautifully.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I actually want to put some plants in there so that the roots come down, and like kind of like in nature, where the roots come down into the water.
I love that. It gives
And
it kind of an avatar feel, yeah. Or even water lettuce or water hyacinth.
And I put some leaf litter in there because
Okay.
a tree stump, obviously, the leaves are gonna fall and they're gonna fall into the water. So I have leaf litter that I got from Tannin Aquatics.
Very, very natural. Now, are you wanting the water to stain with the tannins?
No. No, because John doesn't want to see that.
Okay.
So
Well, it's all preference.
And I shouldn't have done that because I don't want to disrespect my friends that like the tannin look.
It's
I'm
a
just not
hot
fan.
thing right now. It's like a trend.
It's not a trend for me. I'm not a fan of it. But if you like it, that's cool.
I do more of that in my 75-gallon with my purple emperor tetras.
Yeah.
That has more of a little bit of a tannin look to it, and I'm fine with that. So
I keep looking down at my phone because there's somebody texting me that's wanting to send us lights for the tank that we're talking
Get
about.
on that job.
And so I'm like, no, I don't want the water to be brown. No. You can get these magnificent lights and then make the water brown? Absolutely not.
Okay, so that's not the tank for a tannin tank. That's not it.
No.
Yeah, maybe another one, but that's not the one.
I've spent 25 years trying to keep water clean. I don't want it to look
Okay,
dirty.
so, and I get that. I know where you are, but once upon a time, I paddled my kayak across the Okefenokee Swamp. 3 days, camping on platforms built up over the swamp. And I swear, this isn't an adventure story. There I was, 30,000 feet, with only a pocket knife and a piece of thread. No, it's not that. But the Okefenokee Swamp was absolutely carpeted with alligators. And if you know anything about a kayak, it's a plastic boat, and your ass is below water level, where the alligators are. Yeah, carpeted everywhere.
What does this have to do with tannins in the water?
The Okefenokee Swamp is a swamp, and the water is tea-colored
Okay.
with tannins, with beautiful old cypress trees.
oh wow.
And the big knees coming up, and it was majestic being out there in that habitat. But for the longest time, I wanted to bring a piece of that into my life with the stained water. I saw this. I was in this with the cricket frogs and the alligators and the sunfish, and I wanted that experience. And so I can understand why people are really attracted to tannin stained water. A display tank. My monster tank probably not going to be tannin stained.
I can completely understand it too. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
That's all. Just like I said, I don't like seafood and I don't want wild caught fish. It doesn't mean if other people do like that, they're wrong and I'm right. It's just, I just don't like that look. Like I said, I've been
And that's
spending
okay.
25 years trying to keep it clean. I don't want to intentionally make it look dirty. That's just me.
I
So,
don't mind it personally. I don't mind it, but I don't want it for
but actually,
those two tanks.
you're having the best of both worlds. You've decorated with a natural leaf in a limited fashion, so you don't have the stained water.
Right.
And you're kind of having the, again, you're using your preference and experience to keep the water the tank you want and offer the natural thing for the fish. I may not have ever thought of that. I may have thought you either go tannins with the botanicals or you don't.
And I mean, you can really get some nice murky water if you don't rinse your driftwood.
Yeah, that's instant tannins for you.
Okay, I just glanced down here. We've been going for 2 hours and 3 minutes. We got 42 people in here. Man, that's like how many people we've had forever. They can't get enough of you guys. I hate to string you along. I hate to chain you to your own studio in your own home. This is like a kidnapping. Great for me. I love it, but I want to be respectful of you guys, hopefully, so you'll have me back. And you won't hesitate to come see me when we get the River Life studio built. So I want to wrap this thing up, and before I do, I want to throw it to both of you guys individually, and see if you've got any final comments, anything you want to address with the River Life viewers. John, you first.
I'm really disappointed in you because you, before we started, you said you were going to ask me a question and you didn't answer it, and I had the perfect answer for it. Or you didn't ask the question, and I had the perfect answer all prepared. And so now I don't get to do it, and that makes me sad. But your question was, if a genie came out of a bottle, if Will Smith or Robin Williams came out of the bottle and granted me 3 fish-keeping wishes, what would my answer be?
You are awesome.
And-
I wanted to let you off the hook,
I-
and you said, no, we're going to do this. We're going to go we're playing 9 innings here.
My answer to that question, and this is a very well thought out answer here. Okay, I've deliberated with myself for hours now.
3 wishes, John.
3 wishes.
From
My
a genie,
first-
anything.
My first fish keeping wish would
gonna be
be
good.
to legalize Asian arowanas.
Okay, I get that. That's a good one.
25 years I've wanted that. My second wish would be to legalize Asian arowanas. And my third would be to legalize Asian arowanas in the U.S.
Your
Mic drop.
your fish keeping dream, 3 wishes from a genie, is legalize Asian arowanas 3 times.
I would use all 3 of my wishes on that.
And
because
then-
I already have everything else that I want.
Yeah, that's
So-
just that one thing that's out of reach.
And let me tell you, my silvers that are going to be in here, I would get them another tank, which would probably be equal in size. You would just have to deal with it. Or no, they could stay because they would be grandfathered in. I would get another tank very similar in size to this just for that one fish.
Yeah.
If they would just legalize the stupid things.
I hope your wish comes true, and I hope it does sooner rather than later.
25 years I've been waiting.
If you like that question, please
Okay.
answer. Lisa,
Fish
you've-
keeping, not life wishes.
No.
wait a minute.
Okay.
This is my stream.
I got it.
This is my stream, John. Lisa,
I'm sorry.
anything in the universe, fish keeping or not,
Oh, well, that's
you
another
find a genie's bottle, you rub it, a genie comes out and says, "Hey, Lisa, I will grant you 3 wishes." What are your 3 wishes?
Ooh, yay.
I'm actually looking forward to this.
I would want to have a huge building.
Yeah.
Huge. How big is huge? Like
Monster.
Les's size garage.
jokes I can make about that.
Okay, like a really large one.
5,000 square feet, let's
Yes.
say.
Okay.
Thousands of square feet.
And I would want to set up a rescue for cats. That would be my
Okay.
first.
All right.
The second would be to have help and donations to help me run this program to rescue
Funding.
cats.
Yeah, you can't run much without funding.
I'm not asking for like $1 million from like to win the lottery, but just enough.
You know, if I were the genie, I'd wrap that into 1. You haven't burned 2 yet. A
Okay.
well-funded large cat rescue. Okay.
Yes, that would be the most amazing thing ever.
You got 2 more wishes.
I would want my own fish room. My own fish room.
Wow.
It's fine. You can set up
And-
all the lights and build all the racks and have fun.
Okay. And then
Now, if I were a genie, I would recommend that you alter that second wish to your own fish room with the labor to build it.
Okay, yeah.
Not from John.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's all one big wish.
Now John's altering his wishes.
The third wish would be in my fish room, I have the biggest, largest, hugest tank in the world with a beta sorority.
Okay, so you're talking about basically an encapsulation of a room. The ceiling, the walls, the floor are aquarium.
Sure.
And it's filled up with a gazillion female bettas.
Oh my gosh, yes. And the thing is, this is just me dreaming. It's 3 wishes from a
That's
genie
exactly
bottle.
right.
It'll never happen.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But the first one would be my number 1 one.
Okay.
Yep. there you
Interesting.
go.
Well, now don't we reveal something about ourselves when
We've
we
had-
answer questions like that?
We've had the talk a couple of times, like if we were to do what Joey did and build a dedicated building, which I don't think we would ever do because we have that basement someday. So I don't know that we would ever do that, but if we did, the talk we've always had would be that it would be like half fish, half cats, because she's a crazy cat person.
Well, and that makes life happy. So now that we've gone through this exercise, so to speak, together, we've gone into the realm of outside the box. I want to bring it home a little bit, but not on the ground. We're not putting it on the ground. We're still out there, outside the box. And I want to hear both of your guys' ideas. This is you on the spot. You never thought about this. You don't have the perfect answer.
Oh, I'm scared.
What is the next thing that we creators and collaborators can do in the YouTube FishTube family to aid in, let's call it, infrastructure for, I guess, community building? What's the next step? What's the next thing we can do? And it doesn't have to be readily available. It can be futuristic and require lots of resources we don't have yet. What is it?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
More stuff like this.
Yeah.
Face-to-face collaborations on the air together, channel to channel.
YouTubers working together. And it doesn't always have to be here. I'm saying anywhere. And I think you probably know this was going to be my answer. I have always, from the beginning of my channel, I have approached my content to be new fish keeper friendly.
Yes, I concur.
That's the staple of our channel. Always has been. And one of the reasons why I do that is because I believe the more new fish keepers we bring in, the more organically the community grows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't have new fish keepers coming in, this hobby dies after 10, 12 years. So my answer to that question would be to bring in and nurture as many new fish keepers as possible.
Beautiful. And we can do things from where we are right now with the existing resources, with an eye to the future of how we're going to develop new resources and new pieces of energy in order to achieve that. Starting with what you see right here, what's going on right now. This weekend could become a new trend, a new wave that makes everyone's snowball bigger as we go forward and we grow.
And you don't just have to live in Seattle to collaborate. You
They've
can live on the East Coast.
They've set a good example. Why don't we do
They
it on
have.
the East Coast? Lisa, before, save that. Lisa, do you have a comment? And
Well, I don't
What's
think
next?
I don't think that it has to be just based on YouTube. I think that just having the community grow and people that
True.
that are in the chat that don't do YouTube videos, I think they're just as important as
Good
anybody.
point. Good catch. And you're
they
so
are-
right.
They are they're the people that help us do more.
The
They're-
bulk of the people in this community are not YouTubers.
Exactly, and I think that it's important to include everybody, not just YouTubers. It's nice to be part of this community because there are so many really awesome people out there, and I think we can get even more people to be in this community by just doing simple things like, yeah, we're YouTubers, and there are other people out
Yes.
there we could influence that aren't fish keepers yet. And I think that, even if it's just going to Petco or PetSmart or somewhere, and, maybe what I think would be awesome is if we could get those places to set up like a TV and
I love that creativity.
have YouTube channels that are
Yes.
knowledgeable and they have that resource out there for people to learn, and not only people that walk in and want fish, but people that sell the fish. It teaches them because they're not always taught what they need
Sure.
to know to sell fish.
And you're just then making available a resource to people that are outside our existing community,
And they're
also
gonna come.
asking an invitation.
Yeah, then they're going to come. They're going
And
to
this is what I say about KGTropicals. You guys don't brand yourself this way, but you're a community building channel. I ask you, think outside the box. What's next? What do you think? Both of you are all over building the community.
We
I
all
just-
disappear if it's not for that.
I just think it would
And we all benefit
everybody.
if we do succeed.
Yeah.
Listen.
We need more people in the community.
I have 120,000 subscribers. You have 1,700.
Ish.
I am stupid if I was to believe that all 1,700 people that are subscribed to you are also subscribed to me. So me working with you benefits me too. It's not just you. I mean, I've had people say that you're working with small channels. You don't gain anything from that. The hell I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy enough to believe that every person that's subscribed to you or to Scott or to any of these channels is also subscribed to me. No way. I mean, any exposure is good exposure. And, I'm not going to ever get too big for my britches.
Yeah,
is the way
well,
it is.
and you're going to benefit because you're talking about what you just said was you are a part of a mutual benefit system. It's not a benevolent oh, I'm just being charitable. I'm a philanthropist and I'm going to help. But I guess there's some similarity there between a farm system and a baseball organization. The rookie, I mean, he's going to get smoked in the big leagues. But if we continue to develop him and we pour it, he's going to win us a World Series. We're crazy not to develop this rookie. So, and I think that's an extra level of maturity, an extra level of responsibility that you're taking on, and perhaps you guys benefited from it along your way. And
Well, and I'm certainly, you talk about me like I'm the only one. We are the only ones. We're certainly not. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are unbelievable with the
no,
way they
I
build
agree.
community.
I agree. Sean Peck's in the chat. Sean had me over to his house. Hey, let's just hang out. Sean, these tanks in person, they're awesome. How come you're letting me in your house?
Sean was the first YouTuber I ever met outside of
Where did you guys meet?
Chicago.
Okay. Quite an experience.
We shared a hotel room. One of the worst experiences of my life. I love that guy.
Sean, you're going to give us an amen?
I would break my knees for that guy. I love that guy, but I will never share a hotel room with that man again. I don't know how his wife does it because I talked with her about that in Maryland. I was like, I don't know how you sleep with this man. I didn't sleep with him, but I was in the same room.
Now it's a party.
Anyway, but yeah, it was Sean and then it was Joey. They were the first two in Chicago that I met like in person that were not me, you know. So, but yeah, Sean's a good dude. I do
Excellent
anything
editing
for him.
skills. That guy. He's a genius.
He is a storyteller
Yes.
like no other fish keeping YouTuber
He
is.
is a movie. He's a movie maker, and that drone series that he did. You guys, we're talking about Peck Tech. Sean, I love your work. You told me the countless hours you spend doing that editing. You guys, if you're not familiar with the Peck Tech channel, check that out. Go back in his videos and find a video featuring the clones, and you'll be amazed. Immediately, your jaw will drop. How did he do that? And he did it with lots of hard work and hours of editing for your benefit. So take advantage of that. Go check that out, Sean. Thanks for being here.
And then watch his video where he interviewed the governor from The Walking Dead
That was so fun.
He did interview that guy.
and see if you recognize the governor's voice.
And
Because
you
it
will.
was me.
And you're awesome in that role, John.
It was fun. That was a good time.
It was funny. It was a funny video.
And he still hasn't taught me how to do that. I want to learn how to do that so that I can do that in my videos.
I don't think you mind me saying this. I was in this editing layer, and so he had hard drives, right? I have a hard drive. It's a terabyte. You know, I don't know if I'll ever fill it up. Stacks.
I believe it.
Stacks. And he said, you know those clones? And he pointed over there at the stacks. And wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, great guy. Sean gets it. He's a community guy. He's out there. He's hustling. He's going to Aquatic Experience, the big fish deal. He's all over the place.
That's the last place I saw him was the Big Fish deal.
Yeah, up there with Rachel and Joey and
Joey wasn't there.
Joey didn't make that one?
As far as YouTubers go, it was
But it was one of those that Joey was there and Sean cloned him in a video.
I think that was a couple of years ago. But this year's Big Fish deal, the YouTubers that were there were me, Sean, Jay Wilson, and Rachel.
Okay.
I don't think
I wasn't there.
there was any more.
When Riverwife and I were there, he tried to get us to go to the Big Fish deal. He said it was the thing. We just couldn't schedule it. We couldn't get it worked out. I hate I missed that.
It was a good time. It was
Okay,
fun.
so I now, yeah, we're another
2 hours and 18 minutes.
18.
Woo.
Yeah, I'm still dragging you through, but Lisa, if you don't mind, I'd like to give John the final word.
No
So
problem.
if you'd like to say goodbye to the River Lifers, we appreciate you being here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me and John, and thank you for coming and visiting.
My
It's
pleasure.
been so much fun. I got dinner cooking. We're gonna have a
Awesome.
good dinner tonight. So.
I'm winning.
But anyways, thank you so much for having me. So have a good day.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Lisa. And John, I also gave you kind of a warning about this. As we close out here, you're going to get the final word. This is it.
He didn't tell me this.
I did. It'll come back to you.
Okay.
You and I have had a previous conversation about one of those next steps, about how do we drive this train. And your master idea was to start some sort of an energy that involved getting us together in the East. We're here, we're there, maybe in the form of a meetup, not necessarily a formal convention with a big agenda. As we leave, tell us about what could be in the future for our community.
Well, what you're referring to is what I tried to do. I am not prepared to answer this.
It's all right. We'll work with you.
There are quite a few YouTubers that are on the East Coast, fish tubers, fish keeping YouTubers, all the way from Ohio, Massachusetts, New York, and then all the way down to Florida and everything in between. And you and Peck are in Tennessee, and Dustin's over in Kentucky. We got a lot of people on the East Coast. It seems like the bulk of the collaborations that happen are the guys on the West Coast. And I've referred to them a few times in this stream, and I refer to them with the utmost admiration. I've got nothing negative to say about any of those guys. I admire what they've done as far as working together as a group. They all help each other out and all of that. And what you're referring to is I reached out to you and a select few to say, hey, why don't we try to put something like that together on the East Coast? Because those guys are all my friends on the West Coast. I could collaborate with those guys every single day. They were on my stream 4 years ago. But if I want to collaborate with them in person, I'm crossing the country to go all the way out there, or they're crossing the country to come out to me. That's unreasonable to think that. So why don't we try to put something together where we are collaborating with each other here as East Coasters? Not that
And just to put an exclamation on the point, not a competition.
No.
East versus West.
And it's not that those people would not be able to be involved. It's not like this is our club and you're not allowed. It's nothing like that. It's more just YouTube can be very lonely. I know how weird that sounds, but anybody who's ever tried to build a YouTube channel knows exactly what I'm saying when I say that. You can feel very isolated and very alone in this hobby of ours. Not the fish keeping hobby, but the YouTube hobby. And it's nice to be able to have others here in person, not just through Facebook Messenger or YouTube comments, but in person, being together, not even doing any video footage, just being in the same room, bouncing ideas back and forth. It's something that I've always wanted to have. And so I reached out to you and a few others, and I said, hey, why don't we try to put something like that together on the East Coast? And there were quite a few people totally excited about the idea, and then not another word was ever said about it. So
I think it's because it's summertime and people got really busy.
Sure. Sure.
Like Rachel, she would be on board for sure.
Yeah.
she was.
I know, yeah.
But now here we are, maybe even a false start, nothing really planned, but here we go. And I think your energy is, your idea is concentrated. We need to dilute it into reality.
I think it would be fun, and I think we could all learn from each other. I think we could
Absolutely.
all encourage each other, and I think that sometimes when you hit that burnout stage, which we all do, I think that it helps to have those other people to energize you. I mean,
Every day, bro.
She had completely lost interest in the YouTube world. Completely. Never lost interest in fish keeping. But as far as YouTube goes, that was just past her. And then what happened? We went to the aquatic experience, and all she did for the 5-hour trip home was YouTube.
That's
It was
amazing.
nonstop.
That's amazing.
So-
I met so many awesome people.
Right.
Like I said, there are people that I met that weren't even YouTubers, and I thought they were so amazing. Like, like Daryl Deemer.
Uh-huh.
Great guy.
Hey,
Super
Daryl.
nice
Shout
guy.
out, Daryl Deemer.
I think
Yeah.
he's in the chat today.
And then there,
Hey, bro.
I know Susie makes videos, but I
Susie
didn't know
Q,
who,
Q
I didn't know
Aquatics.
who Susie was before that until we went and ate ice cream, and I was like, wow, she's an amazing human being. And that's the thing, you get to meet people
Well,
and
so,
get to know them.
and I know Susie. I talked to her at Aquatic Experience. She had all the energy of a young YouTuber. How do I grow? What do I do this?
Oh, yeah.
What equipment? And now she's monetized. She's doing live streams.
Congratulations
Susie
to
Q,
her.
And yes, shout out. Susie Q and Aquatic. She's doing all kinds of things. People just love seeing her energy, just like you were talking about. And so there's a newly monetized channel motivating you. And it's just because you came together and shook hands and smiled, got to know each other.
Others, I mean, Rob and Tracy. I mean,
Yeah, DeFreeze
awesome
Aquariums.
people. You know, I really, really like them. And
Jason Adams.
yes, and One Fish, Two Fish Rob, Elizabeth, and Flip Aquatics.
Flip Aquatics, Rob
his
and
wife.
Amanda.
Oh, Amanda, she's
Yeah.
such a sweetheart.
She really is.
And-
King Lee.
Yes, yes, and his daughters. They took a selfie with me. They were
That's
so
so
cute.
cute.
Yeah,
and
and
then-
I met a lot of people. I
Sure.
really enjoyed
Joel and Jimmy and Corey and all of the Seattle boys.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
it's a different
absolutely.
thing.
Bob.
It's a different thing when you meet together in person.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
And it's not a money thing. It's not a, hey, let's all flock to this person because we can learn so much. It's just more just bouncing ideas and just talking shop is
We're
an
all
amazing
there for
thing to
the
do.
Same reason. We're
Yep.
all there because we have the same interests.
And it's unique when you encounter someone and already know, okay, you make YouTube videos and you edit them and you upload them, and you know what I'm going through. I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing. And it's like there's an immediate connection.
Because we all do what we do from our homes, from our desks or from our couches or wherever we do our YouTube thing, it's very easy to feel all alone doing this. Even though you've got comments and people clicking like buttons and all this stuff, it's still very easy to feel alone. And it's nice to be able to have others just to say, hey, let me tell you about this that happened the other day or whatever. It's a beautiful thing. That's what I wanted to try to put together. Unfortunately, nothing's really happened, but maybe now
It's
that
happening.
we're talking about it, maybe it will.
It's happening.
So, and
I
it's
want to
happening
do
tomorrow,
anything
so-
that I can do, to get, we're going to share that tomorrow. We're going to make it something that people get a benefit from and want to continue. And we'll,
I think it would be fun to do an event on the East Coast somewhere,
here it is.
preferably in King George County. No, I'm just kidding. But somewhere in King George that is a YouTuber meetup event.
Here is the question I'm going to put you on the spot with. I may have mentioned it to you before. I may not have. John, where is that spot?
Well, right here. We've got more tables and chairs.
I mean, I think that naturally you would try to look at what is going to be like a central location, because this wouldn't be about how many people can we get there to
No,
make
it's not.
money,
Nope.
because it's not a convention.
An
It's
event.
just a meetup type thing.
You're the man. Right now is your chance. Where?
Oh, don't put that on me.
Yeah. It's happening.
don't- I
River
mean,
Life live stream. Ask KGTropicals. Where's the event?
Virginia kind of, Washington, D.C. kind of is the center of the East
Washington,
Coast.
D.C., proven to draw a crowd. It's accessible to people that go to the Big Fish deal. And when?
This guy.
Yeah, you're on the spot. And listen, this isn't a contract. You're not a
It
bad guy.
better not be.
You're not a bad guy. If it's not Washington, it's not the time you say, but
I'm going to tell you when it should be,
yes.
Next summer.
is in the summertime.
Okay.
Because you may not notice this yet, but there is definitely a lull in the summertime on YouTube. And then September-ish is when things really start to ramp up. And it's not that you're busier then, as far as YouTube goes. I'm doing the same thing I do now, but you're getting a lot more views and it's more exciting. And when your channel's growing really fast, you're more inspired and you don't need that motivation. Summertime is when things dive down and you
Yep.
start to feel bad about yourself and you start to get frustrated. And so summertime, next summer, that would be the time to do it.
July-ish.
Sure. And
Well,
plus it's easier for people to get off work. And
yeah.
all
Would
that.
you say avoid the 4th?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we're not talking about getting in the fray of Washington, D.C. on the 4th of July. We're talking about,
You don't want to be anywhere near there.
No, and when I say Washington, D.C., I mean like the
Greater
D.C.
DC
metropolitan
area, yeah.
area, which would be Maryland, Virginia. You know, that's the Big Fish deal is advertised in D.C. It's not. It's in Greenbelt.
I
Like 20 miles away.
mentioned the International Amphibian Days. We convened in Baltimore for that reason. International airport and lots of amenities, including the National Aquarium.
Scott asked about that because we're going to be in Baltimore tomorrow. But the thing is, the reason why I said a central location, which is the D.C. area, is
Yeah.
because the hope would be that a lot of people wouldn't have to utilize an airport. You know, if we're right in the middle, it might be 6-7 hours.
Sure.
It would be for you. and it would be really short for us, but it's people like Rachel and Scott and Susie Q and Rob and the other Rob in Ohio and Steve Poland if he wants to get back in it. And there's all these people that could come down from New England and New York and Pennsylvania. And
Greg
then people
and
from
Mike and those guys could come down. Joseph could come up. That's east. Virgin Islands.
I mean,
Wow, that's
he would be the one coming from the furthest away, but yeah. But that's why I said DC, because people wouldn't have to fly. I mean, because it's not like this would be a money-making thing. It would just be people getting together, hanging out. So, but you know, a lot of people might say, well, we're going to do that at the Aquatic Experience, so why even do something like that? I don't know. But
I don't. You know, you're right. That could happen. What I'm thinking is 35 people in the live stream right now are thinking, and if you're wanting to build community, you want to be a part of community, and all of a sudden on your calendar, a flash, there's a community event. If you're into YouTube and you're into fish keeping, hey, there's going to be a bunch of people up there in the central eastern United States on this day doing these things. I think it would at least be a lot of fun.
I think it would be fun. I think it would be big.
my daughter is calling, so please excuse me.
Thank you.
But I also think that doing smaller ones like we're doing tomorrow, we'll gradually build into something like that.
I'm with you on that, John. I think we can spitball it. We can say a day and a place, but I think it's going to grow organically.
What's wrong? I don't know what just happened.
Well, we're closing down here, John. You can go find out what just happened. Thank you for the final word. River Lifers, it's been a real privilege to have John and Lisa on the live stream in their studio. Thank you again very much. We may not get this quality of equipment or guest for some time, but we're certainly excited to have had this opportunity. And John, listen, if there's anything I can do to help KGTropicals, please reach out to me.
You helped today.
And I want also all of you guys to go over to KGTropicals. Check out the live stream last night. Really cool information about monster aquariums, custom aquariums. Thebomb.com. Check it out if you're interested in a monster tank. I want to help you in that process, but I'll just be a cheerleading section. John's the guy with all the info, all the contacts, and a discount if you buy through him. So he's the guy to go to there.
Sometimes.
Be
Not
nice
always.
just in case, right? Okay, so we're going to wrap up here. Let's see. We're closing down 35 people in the live stream. Thank you very much. Looks like we've been going for 2 hours and 32 minutes.
Might be a record for me.
Well, it seems like just a few minutes. We didn't stop. There
it
was
does
no
fly.
lulls. You guys are fantastic. The water box is in here. Chung, great seeing you. And Daryl, good to see you, bro. I didn't get a chance to pay attention to the chat, and I don't apologize for that. I think you guys got a better experience because we were just having a free-for-all here around the microphone. So all of that said, I love you guys. Thank you very much. I want you to get out there and see it, love it, and live it. We'll catch you on the next one. So long.
Goodbye.